when Paul was talking about people who haven't heard about Christ, he said the following in Romans chapter 10. I'm going to read in verse 14 and 15. He says this.
Mhm.
He says, "How then are they to call on him in whom they have not believed? How are they to believe in him whom they have not heard? And how are they to hear without a preacher? But how are they to preach unless they are sent?" So right now, it's my understanding that only God can send someone to preach the gospel. And if this is the case, how can anyone truly, and by truly, I mean like according to how it's done in the Bible, how can anyone truly preach the gospel today? Like I said, as we've seen it done in the New Testament. And I ask
Mhm.
because kind of touching on what we were talking about last week, um, when people preach the gospel in our day and age, I don't see the miracles, wonders, and signs accompanying them to confirm the message. So that's why I'm asking it. Like I'm just asking, like, can the gospel truly be preached today, or can it not? If we stick with how it was done in the New Testament.
That's a good question. And first foremost, when somebody asks a yes or no question, I like to go into the yes or no before I elaborate. Yes, the gospel can be preached as it was preached then. First, let's go to John 17,
Okay.
right? This is John 17, right? And let me see. And verse 20. This is Jesus praying about the apostles, right? Who we know were sent to preach the gospel. We know that, right? Read verse 20, please.
Okay. John chapter 17, verse 20. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word.
So Jesus is saying to the Father, I'm not just praying for my 12 alone, but also for them which shall believe on me through their word, which is the gospel that they preached about him, right? And then read verse 21.
Verse 21, that they all may be one as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me.
Now, when they all become one, right? All that he's talking about is the apostles, people who believed on them through the preaching of their gospel. They're one. If we are one and united, that means whatever the apostles preached, what will you preach, Calvin does?
The same thing.
The same thing. So when they became one, you preach the same thing. Now, that doesn't mean, as you like to point out, that you are commissioned to go and preach to all nations. That was a specific commission for them to do, right? But you can preach the same thing because you're learning from them. Remember what let's go to Timothy. Now we know that Timothy was not one of the apostles, was he?
No, he was not.
Right? Now watch what he says to him. This is Timothy, Second Timothy, chapter 4, read 1 and 2.
All right. Second Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. I charge thee therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the
Mm-hmm.
word. Be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine.
Now he told Timothy to preach what?
The word or the gospel.
What's the word? That's the gospel,
Mhm.
right? Timothy was not an apostle. We know that. So when he was told to preach the word, he was telling him to preach the gospel. He didn't have to be quote unquote sent as the apostles were. He just believed on Jesus through their word, through their preaching of the gospel. And now Paul is telling him to go out and do the same thing. So we can do that. We believe that's how we know about Jesus, about what the apostles wrote, right? So we're preaching the true gospel, but that doesn't mean that we are sent in the sense that, oh, we want the 12 to go out on the Great Commission, like you like to point out. So, yes, we can still preach it just like they did. We don't have to be specifically apostles. Preaching it just simply means we learn it from them and we go share it with others. And if you know, Timothy was one of the leaders of the church that Paul placed him over that. So it's still like a teacher like position if you want to even get more technical with it. You understand?
Yeah, I think and sticking in this chapter, I just want to read a couple more verses to really like underscore the main point I'm trying to make. So verse let me see here. I stopped at verse 2 or verse 3, can't remember.
You stopped at verse 2. You're on verse 3 now if you keep reading.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm going to read verse 3, 4, and 5. So verse 3 says this: For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. So the main thing I'm trying to get across is, even with Timothy. Timothy was told by Paul, right, to do the work of an evangelist. When I think of an evangelist, I think of like Philip, right? You know, Philip
Mm-hmm.
was an evangelist.
That's what he was called, wasn't it? Philip the Evangelist, right?
Exactly. And I think his account is read about in Acts chapter 8. But in Acts chapter 8, we see Philip the evangelist preaching the gospel with miracles accompanying him. So,
Right.
Did Timothy also have miracles accompanying him, or was he not given that ability? 'Cause I
It
can't
doesn't
remember.
say anything. It doesn't say anything about Timothy getting that ability,
Right.
right? See,
Hmm.
you got the preachers of the gospels who are the original ones, the original apostles,
Hmm.
not counting Judas, of course, right? They were the ones equipped with the miracles and stuff. Think of it like this: when Moses came out of Egypt, him and Aaron were doing all the miracles, right?
Right.
They were the ones teaching people about the law. But didn't he also eventually turn that responsibility over to the Levites?
He did.
But were they doing any miracles or anything like that?
They were not. Good point. And yet they were required to teach the people.
Exactly. Well, let
Yep.
me show you something that he told Timothy here, right? Still in what we just in we were just what were we just reading from
Oh,
just now? I just was
we just read from Second Timothy 4 and verse 5.
okay. Go back to chapter 2
Okay.
and read verses 1 and 2. Because we just seen that, preach the word, that's talking about the gospel, right?
Hmm.
You don't have to preach it on the same level. Like you got those who are ordained, with the miracles and stuff, and then you just got us just learning from them and just sharing. Because preaching just simply means just sharing, what
Right.
we heard and putting it with everybody else. And that's what it says right here. Second Timothy chapter 2, 1 and 2. Read that, please.
Okay, Second Timothy 2, verse 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus. And the things
Hmm.
that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. Yeah, there it is right there. That's what you're talking about. Hmm.
Hmm.
Was that
And
it?
that's what yep, that's it. you know,
Yeah,
commit to other people that can teach it, that can share it. No, but notice it said that can do it. And it said
right.
faithful. That means genuine brothers. You follow what I'm
And
saying? Or sisters.
and I want to stress that the word here being used is teach, because there is a
Yes.
difference in the hierarchy between being an evangelist and being a teacher. So
Hmm.
so yes, like I'm of the belief that anybody can do anything, but I think this is kind of where I land. If you want to be a teacher of the Bible, you don't need God to come to you in dream or vision and tell you that necessarily.
Exactly.
If you have a strong desire to teach the word and you're an honest person, you really want to live this life properly, you can do that. You don't need some special, divine like, calling. But if you claim to be an apostle or an evangelist, and in the way that we see, or better yet, let me back it up. If you claim, because people talk like this, they claim to be sent by God. You hear a lot of Christians say things like, um,
Mhm.
"Hey, Kev J, could you mute yourself? Because I'm hearing myself, man. It almost make me feel like I've cloned myself. Like, dang, hold up. Why the other Kevin talking? As in the other
Mhm.
Kevin of the dust. Uh, but yeah. So what I was saying is, you hear a lot of Christians, in their day-to-day speech say things like, the Lord told me today to pray for you, or the Lord told me this, and the Lord told me that. And I remember my aunt, right? Like, she talks like that. And I remember asking her one
Mm.
day, 'cause she was like, the Lord said this, and then, and then I had a vision or a dream that the Lord spoke to me. And Auntie, let me ask you this question. Uh, do you hear the audible voice of God? And she said, "Well, what do you mean? Why you say that?" Because I said, "When I listen to you speak, you say God told me this or God told me that. So, do you actually hear from God?" And she said, "I used to, but not anymore." I didn't follow up with like what that meant, but that's what she said. Whereas a lot of people, when you press them down, they'll say, "Well, not really. I have a strong feeling, and I'm interpreting that
Yeah.
strong feeling as God talking to me." So if you have a strong feeling that you want to teach the Bible, sure, by all means. But if you're saying that God sent you to preach the gospel, right? I'm going to need to see some miracles to confirm that claim, because
Right.
when you read anywhere in the New Testament, check this out. Jesus was sent by God to preach the gospel, right? And he performed miracles, signs, and wonders while doing so. The apostles were sent by Jesus to preach the gospel. And you can read all throughout the New Testament that these brothers were performing miracles, right?
Mhm.
Stephen in Acts chapter 6 preached the gospel. He was performing miracles. Philip, the evangelist who we just spoke about, was performing miracles. Paul and Barnabas were performing miracles. All these people, were sent by God to preach the gospel. Now, one can make the argument, well, Kevin, where can I read Stephen and Philip being sent? You can't read that specifically, but the fact that they were given miracles while doing so is a way to imply that they were essentially sent, right? So that's kind of where I was going with it. But yes, if you want to teach the gospel, or teach about the gospel, or teach people to keep God's commandments, you can do that. I'm not seeing where you need to have God actually tell you to
Right.
do that.
Right. You just take what the apostles taught and share that with others, and that's how you believe on him through
Right,
their word. And Paul, as an apostle, one of the authorities you're giving as an apostle is to ordain other apostles or successors, as they are called. So Paul had that authority to ordain um Timothy, because the word apostle just simply means messenger or
right,
somebody who's sent.
right,
That's all it means, right? So an apostle can ordain, or better yet, endorse another person, right? Because, Paul was sent. But that doesn't mean that everybody was supposed to be out there teaching at that capacity, right? Because and you've seen the qualifications in Second Timothy chapter 2 that Paul gave Timothy to when he selected other people to commit this information to.
right,
You follow what I'm saying? They had to be faithful men that could teach it, right? So, and that's the setup of like in the church, but everybody ain't teachers, right? All we're supposed to do, the everyday layman or laywoman, they are supposed to preach it through living it. That's how the average person do, through living it.
right.
That that's how y'all do it, right? You can get convicted if you see somebody saying some mess in front of you, and then you go out and you let them know, like, no, that's false. Kev done that. I don't did that, right? But everybody ain't part of that Matthew 28 Great Commission. Go preach it to all nations. No. How could you be part of that anyway? First of all, that was back then. Second of all, if you were back then, you can't be a part of the Great Commission and be the people who are being preached to at the same time. You follow what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You
Hmm.
can't be both. right? So you think you part of the Great Commission, then when Paul tells you that you apply to the Great Commission, it don't go like that, no. Right?
Right. And to your point, about, the commission, like that's the highest level of evangelism there is. Like
Exactly.
to be told by Jesus himself to go preach the gospel. If Jesus himself is telling you to do something, again, miracles, signs, and wonders will accompany you. Josh, you brought up Moses.
Mhm.
God spoke to Moses and said, go do this, go preach to the people, essentially. And Moses did nothing but perform miracles and
Right.
teach. So, like,
Exactly.
that's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue I have with people saying, using the Great Commission to say we're all supposed to be preaching. Nah, not at all. But yeah, I just had those other questions about the
Mhm.
apostles, but I appreciate you, breaking it down for me.
No doubt. And plus, as we showed in today's class, the gospel has been preached to all nations. That happened almost 2,000 years ago, right? So
Right.
all we got to do now is try to live it, you know? That's what we're supposed to do. And then, of course, we share it with other people to help people understand it. But as far as us having to go out and try to convert the nations, it's already been done. That happened 2,000 years ago. We 2,000 years late to that party. You follow what I'm saying? But of course, we're still supposed to be like the light in the world, you know? And when Jesus talked about being a light in the world, you know, being a light means being like an example. It don't mean running your mouth. It means more of an example. That's what it means. But Kevin J is back. Kevin J, let's see what you sound like now that you left and returned. Let's see what you sound like.
Is it any better at all?
Oh, you superb now in my ears.
Way
Oh,
better.
okay. Okay,
You took
'cause
off
I
the
thought
trash.
right, you know what I mean? I can't say it won't be back. It sounded a little funny on my end. I thought you was finna say, Kev with the J. You said that before, and that just kills me every time you say that. Kev with the J. It's like
Kev
you
of the J.
mixing,
Kev of the
yeah,
J. You got
like
Kev
you
of the W,
mixing
you got
VA.
Kev of the
Right.
J.
It's nothing but an honor to be mixed up with the Kev with the Dust. Trust me on that. No, I think I was talking about the class. I was just saying, hey, yeah, it was a good class. I did
There you
actually
go.
have a question too. Because we would discuss this, me and some of my guys discuss Matthew 24 all the time. And the one
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that I didn't agree with you on, Josh, and the Matthew 24 has all been fulfilled. And maybe you could talk about it, is a quick question for me. So like you actually answered some of it, but specifically is Matthew 24, not 29, because at first it was 29 and 30, but then I read like once I got like the apocalyptic language down pat, you know what I mean? It answers
Mm-hmm.
verse 29 because we can see like
Mm-hmm.
the sun being darkened in other days and other ages. But Matthew 24 and 30 though, when it says, and then shall, because somebody asked me about it. It says, and
Mm-hmm.
then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with the power and great glory. That to me is the only thing where I could say I couldn't say that was 100% fulfilled in Matthew 24. And then it follows
So
up with 31, verse 31. You know what it says, in the angels and the great sound, the trumpet.
I got all of that. So even though he says all of that, and then he says, upon this generation shall all these things be fulfilled. This generation shall not pass until all these things be fulfilled.
Right.
So
That's what was hard for me because I can
I
see
mean,
that.
I get it as hard. I get that, but I'm asking you, if Jesus
Mm.
says all these things shall come upon this generation,
Oh, I'm going with Christ every time. I might not understand it, but
that's what I'm saying.
I'm going with
Now,
Christ every
now
time.
I've broken down all of this when it says he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather his elect from the four winds of heaven, from one end of the earth to the other. Is this talking about actual angels? What does the word angel mean? I can show you where John the
Like,
Baptist is called the messenger, and the
yeah,
same Greek word
messenger.
translated
Hmm.
angels is translated messenger for John the Baptist.
Correct.
And it
Hmm.
says And it says with a great sound of a trumpet. I can take you to Ezekiel where he's called the watchman, and he said they're supposed to blow the trumpets.
Yeah, I am
But
aware of that. Yep. I'm
but
aware of
wait a
that.
minute though. Read verse. You like verse 31? Tell me what you think of verse 32. Read that.
32. It says, now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh.
So he said, learn the parable of the fig tree. When its branch is yet tender and put forth its leaves, you know that the summer is nigh. Read verse 33 and read it slow.
33. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors.
When you shall see some of these things.
No, it says all of these things.
Who's he talking to?
He's talking to them in their time.
Did he say that? Did he tell them that they would see all of those things?
Yep.
Does that include the great sound of the trumpet with the angels and the sun and the moon darkening? Wouldn't that include that too?
It would include all of that. That's what Christ is talking about.
So either Christ was lying, or maybe we don't understand this as we think we do.
Right. I'm
And
gonna
in
go. I'm
another
gonna go
class,
with the
the reason why,
latter. I'm gonna go with the
right,
latter
and the
because
reason, and I
that's
can
the
break
part
it
I
down to
struggle
you
with
right now.
personally.
I got information on this. I can take you to history, show you all of this stuff, right? But the reason why I don't want to break it down now because I don't want to ruin it for when I actually do the class.
Oh no, no, no doubt, no doubt. It was
Right,
just this,
right.
this is always the loose end. Even even like we was all talking about it one day. This is always the loose end, especially for me. Like when I'm trying to explain, I mean I do pretty well right up until this time. So yeah, I can't wait for the class, and I'm sure you can break it down history wise because I was in Josephus too. Like I can see a lot of that in Josephus because I've literally taken people. That's why I'm so glad that you did the Josephus thing because I can literally take people to where they were telling people to go to the temple, and Christ was telling them
Mm-hmm.
not to go to the temple. And Josephus is talking about the people that went there and got murdered, and it was terrible. A lot of bad things happened. So like you proved a lot of that right there in Josephus' writing, like
It's other
live
stuff.
CNN. You know what I mean? Like it was
It's
like,
other stuff too in Josephus too, supernatural stuff, right? That I can show too, right? That's pertaining to this. And then it
mm,
said in verse 30, it said, then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. It didn't say, then shall appear the Son of Man in heaven. It said, the
mm,
sign of the Son of Man, a
hmm.
sign of something like, what's the sign that he's in heaven? And then when you read verse 34, read verse 34.
It says, this is Matthew 24 and 34. It says, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
Whatever you're struggling with, that's okay. But it got to have happened.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
That's what I'm saying. You know, either that or he got some, or Jesus is a false prophet.
Oh no, I'm not saying.
Well,
That's what I say.
right, right.
That's what I say.
I know you're not saying
I
that.
don't understand. As I said, something I'm not getting to explain this to people better. So yeah, I'll wait for the class. But I'm definitely not saying that. But I know that there
Right.
was a part there. Like when I got through that whole class, I've watched that class actually several times. Matthew 24 completely fulfilled. Because man, you opened my eyes on some stuff, right? And I mean,
Mhm.
my jaw dropped because I always used to take that from the Sunday Christian church. I've always taken that as to me revelation. But
Right.
man, when you broke that down, I'm like, oh, that's hard to like. It's hard to like like when people say you can't unsee something.
Right.
That's what that was. Like it never that chapter has never been the same for me ever since. Ever since.
Exactly.
And the only
Once you
thing
see it,
that
it's
I
hard
can
to
say
unsee it.
right, right, right. So even when I'm telling like people who've known me in the past or whatever, like they know that I used to look at the scriptures a certain way X Y Z. I take them to this one, and this is the one I struggle with the most right here. That 30
Right.
verse 30.
And I mean, and when I break it down, you'll see. You follow what I'm saying? And see this, and then when you see, and when you show the part to the Christians about, he said, when ye shall see these things, when you shall see them, he's telling them they're going to see it. And that's when the Christians want to jump to that fourth wall. They want to break that fourth wall that Kelvin does be talking about. That's when they want to do that. You follow what I'm saying? But don't worry, we're gonna deal with that. You follow what I'm saying? You know, that's why I didn't want to deal with that now. It's other stuff in Matthew 24 that people got questions about. I can show you that too. And there's other stuff in
Yeah.
Josephus I can show in history.
No,
Supernatural stuff.
I know you were attacking. It was just always one that I wanted to ask you about. And then when Kevin the Dust asked you about his question, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And it all kind of like linked up. But you've explained all of it. But obviously I can't wait for the class now myself, because I think that
Mm-hmm.
what that will do for me is put a piece of my understanding together. Because like you said, if he says this generation, I agree with that. It's
Yeah,
got to
it's
be
all
something
these things. He said, "This
it's something that I'm
generation shall
missing
not
there.
pass away until
Right.
all these things be fulfilled." You follow what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
it
All,
says what it says. It says what it
all.
says. So, yep,
And he said, "They shall see all of it." Meaning that generation. He said, "When ye shall see all of these things." Do you want me
yep.
to want me to show you another one that I got to mess with your head a little bit now. Now just remember, you brought this on
I
yourself.
bring it to myself. I got it, brother. What you got?
Mhm. Let's go to let's see. Let's go to Matthew 26,
26.
read 63 and 64. I don't told y'all about playing with me.
Let
I don't told y'all about playing with me.
Matthew,
I
let's
want
do
you to see
26.
what you're gonna do to this one.
Let me see.
Matthew
You said
26 and
63.
verse 63. Yep, read that please.
Oh, my stuff. Hold on, my trash and Tosh is jumping. Give me a second.
A trash and tie, bro.
It then jumped. Okay, here we go. Matthew 26 and 63. It says, but Jesus held his peace. And the high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure thee by the living God, that thou tell us whether thou be the Christ, the Son of God.
Now this is the high priest Caiaphas. He's interrogating Jesus. Now he's making them say under oath. Tell us if you Christ, the Son of God. Watch what Jesus says to him.
2064. Jesus said unto him, Thou hast said, nevertheless, I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven.
Did Caiaphas witness that?
No,
What does that sound like to you?
that's like future. That's future tense.
I mean, but what does that sound like what we just read? In
Hold
Matthew
on.
24. In Matthew
Oh,
24, go back to
oh,
Matthew 24.
oh yeah, that's present time for them in Matthew
Hold
24.
up. Go back to Matthew 24 and read verse 30. Read that.
Let me go back to 24. The trash and toss at me.
Well, hold your spot where you are now. Hold your spot where you are now, though. But go back and read Matthew 24 and 30. Read that.
24 30. If my trash and toss lets me. It's okay. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
They shall see. See, this is what you struggle with because you taking this to be literal. Now go back to Matthew 26 and read verse 64. And this is what Jesus told Caiaphas. He's talking to Caiaphas, the high priest.
Right.
Read that.
64. Jesus said unto him, Thou hast said, nevertheless, I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven.
Without a doubt, that's talking about the same thing you just read in Matthew chapter 24 and verse 30. Without a doubt. Now
Mm,
explain to me. Now explain to me how Caiaphas saw that. Because Caiaphas lived in the first century with Jesus. How did he see that?
he
And he
sure
said,
did.
he was talking to him. He said, you're going to see it. So was Jesus a false prophet? Because Caiaphas did not see that, not in a literal sense. So
No.
explain to me how Caiaphas saw that. And unless you're trying to tell me that he's going to resurrect Caiaphas up in the end just to see that, that would mean that Caiaphas is coming up in the first resurrection.
Oh, I got you. I got
So
you.
we know, so is he going to bring Caiaphas, the guy who orchestrated him being crucified in the first resurrection? No. So how could he see that? How would Caiaphas see that?
He would have had to see. He would have had been something he witnessed, because he definitely
When?
wouldn't have got resurrected then in his time.
When? Exactly. But it works the same
Mm,
way. See, I keep telling y'all getting caught up in this language and y'all thinking it's literal. It's literal and it's figurative. That's why I said
That's the
it
tough
hit you
part
with
about that. Yeah, yeah.
right. It's deep. It's deep. But he told Caiaphas, if you try to make Matthew 24 and 30 be literal, you just made your Lord and Savior a false prophet.
Oh, don't say that, but you just hit me in the gut. But I feel you though.
No, I'm just saying that's what you just did. Because
Right, right. No,
unless
I feel you. I feel you.
I'm just saying, like, if you try to make it be literal, see, that's why I said y'all play with me, and I'm just, I'm playing with you, Kev the J.
I know. I know what you're saying.
Right? But I'm
Kevin
showing
the J.
y'all, when y'all want to, if you try to play that, I'm struggling with it. It got to be in the future. Then why did Jesus tell Caiaphas that he would see it?
Yeah, I missed that one. I totally missed this one. So if I'm combining the two, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have to really do that, to be honest with you, because even going back to 24, I mean, you went here just to make it worse. But even back to 24, he
Just taking
does
you
say,
here to show you that Jesus was saying that people in his time would witness that. So why do you have to put it in the future? That was my whole point of taking you there.
yeah, right, and he's we. I guess what kicked in for me because I'm a little slow on the take on that one. But when you said he wouldn't resurrect this dude, I'm like, no, he ain't resurrecting this guy to see this.
No,
So that
not to show him
you know
that.
what I'm saying? Right, exactly. Yeah, I got you. No, I'm cool. I'm cool. Yep.
So he must have meant in another sense. That's why I always said, I said in this class, I said there's a coming judgment that it talks about in the New Testament, and then there's an actual second coming. You follow what I'm saying?
Right. And I like when you went to actually today, you I don't know if you added this, but you went to Ephesians, right? And then you added the ages. I'm like, okay, so that lays more foundation when they're talking about, okay, there's a difference between them knowing what's going to happen then at that time, 70 AD
Mhm.
style, and then the other ages that come after the fact. So like that helped
Right.
me a little, in a sense, because now I can see like a little bit clearer. Okay, they're definitely talking about another age, and then they're all on the same page as to know, okay, there are more ages to come. In other words, we're gonna see more things. It don't just stop at the end of that age of 70 AD.
Exactly. They
It
knew
keeps
that it was
rolling.
going to continue.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
this
Yep.
kills the preterists who try to say everything was wrapped up
Yes.
in the first
Yep.
century. That's how
Yep.
I destroyed William Bell.
Oh yeah. That Luke was that Luke 20:34 to 35. Dude.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 You
And that's why
can't
I'm
get
showing
around
you.
it.
He told Caiaphas that Caiaphas was going to see exactly what you just read in Matthew 24. And he said that to Caiaphas after Matthew 24. He said that 2 chapters later.
Yep.
He said, you're going to see it. And he said that. And by the way, when Jesus said that, he was speaking under oath.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what speaking under oath means? It's the
And
same as us going on
put
trial,
your
put
hand
our
on that
hands on the
Bible.
Bible
Yep.
and said, I swear to tell the truth. Nothing. So
That's
not
exactly
only
what
did he
it is.
say it, he said it under oath.
Mm-hmm. And he
So
was
that
10
means
toes down.
he was
100%.
10 toes down,
No, I
right?
appreciate it, man. No, this is what I mean. This is why we're blessed to have you, because you see
Praise
things.
God.
You see things. Like I tell my son when teach him how to drive. You got to look ahead of the cars in front of you. You can't just base
Mhm,
your view on the first car in front of you and say, "Oh, he's hitting the brakes." You can rear this, but you got to look at what's going on before that car. And the way
mhm.
you teach, you look at things. You look at things, and you see how we're gonna see even after you preach it. It's like you know how we're gonna look at it. That's why you be having these titles. You
Yep.
know how we're gonna see the title, and you also know how you're
Mhm.
gonna break it down. It's
And
and
I know all the stuff
I'm
people try to get at with that Matthew 24. I know all the go
yeah, I
tos that
know.
are
I know,
going
I know you
around.
heard it all. I know you heard
Right,
it all.
right, right. And that's why when you hit anybody with that Matthew 26, they don't know what to do. Because they know Caiaphas did not literally witness that. But he told him, you're going to see it. That's
It
what he told
paused
him.
me. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, wait.
Don't,
Because
don't worry about it. I'm not going to, y'all know I never leave y'all hanging. Y'all know that. I just didn't want to get in, because y'all know Matthew 24 class is long enough by itself.
Yeah, it's long.
Even when I do it, I
Yeah.
may not do the whole thing. I may have to break it up into a part 1 and part 2. Because that thing is like 3.5, 4 hours long.
Oh yeah, you can bring that out, bro. I done watched it more than one
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So
And I got more information too. We'll get
that,
back to that.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
circle back.
my bag. I ain't mean to, don't ruin your up and coming classes, but I appreciate you taking the
That's
time,
why
man.
I
I
threw you
really
there. So
do.
I'm in here with this Matthew 26.
Yeah,
I'm
you
finna
threw me a
play with
bone.
the
You
head.
threw me a bone. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Praise God. Praise God. Neo, you got anything you want to add before I go to kingdom mindset? Mindset on the kingdom?
No, sir.
All right. And kingdom mindset?
Yo,
Anything you
what
want to
up?
add?
What up,
What up,
Josh?
kingdom mindset? Mindset on the kingdom?
hmm we don't focus on earthly things, but we focus on the citizenship in heaven, right?
Correct. Mhm.
Yeah. So just a quick update. I mean, first I want to say this class was absolutely banging, right? Because I already knew what you was
Praise
about to
God.
pit out, right? Because you already did this,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been equipping myself with knowledge recently, insanely. Okay, so what I've done this whole past few months. I'm almost done with the Bible. All I got left is the book of Job, the book of Psalms, Esther, Nehemiah, um, Ezra. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like Esther, Nehemiah, and Ezra is like after the Babylonian. So when I read those now, now I don't get confused what First, Second Kings, First Chronicles, and Second Chronicles, basically what all those are talking about. I don't get confused. Now I can just flip over to my Bible, look where exactly what I'm talking about, and know exactly what time period I'm looking.
Right.
But besides that, right? Um, I would say like, how do you juggle both biblical cosmology with the fact of with the Bible? Because I'm having trouble believing in a flat Earth. But the Bible says we don't live by sight, but by faith. And evidence things hoped for, but man, it's hard.
Well, the way I go about it is until somebody puts me on a rocket or somebody does a live recording of somebody getting on the rocket, because I did research on this. NASA always have excuses about why they can't show the Earth in its entirety, like zoom all the way out with cameras. We got these powerful telescopes that we claim we don't send all the way to Jupiter and these satellites and stuff, but they always got an excuse on why they can't just send a rocket out from the Earth and turn it around and make the camera face at it. Or better yet, just have the camera facing on the back of the rocket toward the Earth and just zoom it out. They got all these excuses why they can't do that. You need to look into this. So my whole thing is this. That we all know that the images that somebody in the chat said that would cost billions, but they're already doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but they're already doing it. It's not like I'm jumping up saying, hey, y'all need to do this. They already got the probes out there. They're already in space.
Oh, and the whole
So,
fisheye, the lens with like.
right, they already got it. Right.
Mm,
All I'm just saying is they're doing this stuff every day. And he said that would cost millions, billions, correct. But NASA ain't hurting for any money. People
exactly.
donate to NASA like crazy. People act like NASA going bankrupt.
And you know what's
They got
crazy?
the money.
I just learned this today as I was researching. They have a whole movie studio at NASA, so they could like film like the whole moon landing.
Right.
Could have staged that,
Like
but
like I said, until somebody, the way I look at it is this: until somebody get in a rocket ship with a live feed and show from takeoff all the way to the moon and land on it. Even if you go back and watch the moon landing, allegedly, it's a lot of missing clips, a lot of unanswered questions. You follow what I'm saying? Just a lot of stuff. Like
Mhm.
we went to the moon in 1969, they claim that the technology was destroyed or lost. They actually say that. This is what they're saying.
The what? The what?
The technology, the means of how we were able to do that. They're saying
Yeah.
that it was lost. That's what I heard. Right? They're making all these claims. We have never in the history of mankind went somewhere that we once thought was unattainable and never went back. Every time we attain something, we set up shop. That's what mankind does. We set up shop. You trying to tell me we went to the moon in 1969? If we actually went to the moon in 1969, we'd have cities on the moon by now in 2024.
For real. Like,
And no other nation but America has ever been to the moon. Not Russia, not China. You mean to tell me y'all wouldn't even go to the moon just to confirm that we went?
it made no sense.
Since when do the other nations take America's word for anything? Oh, y'all been to the moon, so ain't no need for us to try to go behind you. Do they trust us, or do they don't think they can do it, or it has never been done?
Mm.
That's what I want to know. And don't forget, in 1969, Richard Nixon had a live phone call with people on the moon. Did y'all know that?
Nah,
In
nope. I heard about it.
Go online, a landline, not even can't have cell phones back then. From a landline, live feed, no delay. Kevin J was just having problems on Discord with me with the internet.
Wow.
But
I'm
Richard Nixon is talking to the astronauts on the moon in real time. Ain't even no delay. What
yeah.
Kevin J just said, man, I'm getting a delay. I'm getting a delay. In real time. It's on YouTube. Google it, and then look at the comment section. They roasting that in the
You
comment
know what's
section.
crazy, Josh? I mean, you know what's crazy? What's up? You know what's crazy, Josh? Um, that's the thing, though, right? Is that even when I had conflicting thoughts about this, I mean, I still have faith in God, right? I was
Right.
trying to make Isaiah 40 verse 22 be a chance for a spherical earth.
Well,
That
even under the flat Earth model, it's still spherical. You know that, right?
like in what way? Like, cause I already know that
The
it's not.
dome. What shape is the dome, bro?
Oh yeah, the firmament. Yeah, but I'm
That's
saying
still circle. So Isaiah 42 does not debunk or confirm the flat Earth model or the global model either way.
mm,
It doesn't like you can use it for either one. It's him that sits above the circle of the Earth.
yep.
That
Yeah,
could be a dome or that can be a globe. Both are qualified as circles.
so yeah, like that's the thing though, right? Because if I'd say that to a normal Torah observant Christian, they would call me a heretic because like extra books of what they would say about like if I let's say I believe in a globe Earth, they wouldn't say that I would be apostatizing faith because they know as long as I'm keeping God's commandments and having the testimony of Jesus Christ, good.
Bro,
But
I'm gonna tell you like this: with the way this world is going today, in this so-called intellectual age, where we don't even know what a woman is anymore, can we really say we can believe anything these people telling us? You can't
yeah,
even tell me what a woman is, and it's 2024. You want me to believe that Richard Nixon used a landline to talk to people? And by the way, it was a live feed too. You got
mm,
people in the chat saying, "Can anybody else see Brother Josh on video?" Because I'm doing a live feed right now. You got people whose internet can't even keep up with me right here on Earth. And Nixon had a live feed. He had a
it was
Zoom
glitching a
meeting.
little bit. I got 5G, so that would just make I got 5G on
Bro,
my phone, so
Richard Nixon had a Zoom meeting in 1969 from a landline
ain't
with
that
people on the moon. No delay, no technical difficulties, and they talking back in real time. I do not believe that we went to the moon. I will tell anybody that. I'm not saying they 100% most definitely did not go. I'm saying I don't believe that. If they did, what I want to know is why haven't we gone back in like 40 years.
It don't make no sense, man. Like we got better technology now, but
Why don't
like
we got that set up? We should have entire cities on the moon,
mm-hmm.
right? People say we've been there, done that. Why ain't nobody else went? Last time somebody climbed Mount Everest, and because somebody else was the first one to do it, nobody else wanted to do it.
Exactly. Oh,
Mankind
Wim
never
Hof.
did that. Oh, so y'all want me to believe that just because we were the first people to go to the moon, none of the other nations were interested anymore? When does mankind ever operate like that?
You know what's crazy, Josh? Like about Mount Everest, there was an old man named Wim Hof. He got a breathing technique named after him. Like he was practicing that breathe technique before he went barefooted. Keep in mind, up to Mount Everest. You can go search it up. Right? He was running marathons in hot sun, booty butt naked, no clothes on. Like I'm just like so. And the whole thing about the things where oh yeah, a human cannot kill a lion. I'm like, well, in the Bible, I see David's partners that are in the Book of Chronicles that's named like there's a one dude that killed a lion in the snow that it talks about. Like you know in the Book of Chronicles where it gives you a whole dialogue
Yep.
uh of
I'm
David's
just
partners.
what I'm just trying to get people to understand is NASA has not been completely open or convincing with the excuses they give for why they haven't went back to the moon.
For real.
I honestly, in my opinion, I honestly don't see anything they've done that justify the billions of dollars that they get donated to them every year. What has NASA really done lately? Can anybody tell me? I'm not saying they haven't. I'm just asking y'all, what has NASA done lately that justifies them getting billions of dollars every year? Name me one institution on this planet where people can donate billions of dollars to it and get literally nothing new in return.
Don't make no
You can't
sense.
even do that. You can't even do that at the church. Even at the church, you got to give the people something consistent. It's the same thing with this whole cancer research stuff. How long we been researching cancer? When
Literally.
was the last time mankind has cured a disease?
You know it's crazy, God, you know he gave us herbs and medicine. Like it says in the book of Apocrypha in the Bible that we have today, 66 canon. Crazy. They don't
I'm just saying
I,
the funding doesn't make
yeah,
any sense. See, me, I'm a man of outcome. I focus on outcome. I'm all about the bottom line,
for
right?
real.
You can't razzle and dazzle me with promises of what you can do. I want to see the outcome. I've been donating billions of dollars to y'all, and y'all can't even take us back to the moon one time in modern times.
For
You
real.
can't even take us back to the moon one time. You know why they ain't doing it now? Because they can't fake it as easy anymore. See, now, if they say we're going to do a launch to the moon right now, there are people who are wealthy enough to launch right next beside them with miniature rockets and say, we're going to follow you all the way down. You follow what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or they
they
will tax something, or they will like, let us attach one of our cameras or whatever to it to accompany you all the way there. They ain't going to
mm-hmm.
let that happen. Right? So I'm not buying all of that stuff. Like I said, until they put somebody on the moon in modern times. And I ain't worried about them trying to fake it in modern times because, people are too savvy today. So
For real.
until I see them put somebody on the moon in modern times, I'm not buying it. Or
Mm-hmm.
the next best thing, one of the other nations, I want to hear China just put somebody on the moon. I want to hear Russia just put somebody on the moon. I want to hear North Korea just put somebody on the moon. If I hear that, and then they go in real time to do it, then I'll be convinced. But right now, some old choppy footage from 1969 and Richard Nixon talking to them from a landline in real time. It wasn't even on delay. They didn't even have the DC to try to play the technical difficulty game. Like, we're having troubles, they're breaking up. Mr. Nixon, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to finish this phone call. He had a whole phone call. Have anybody, by the way, anybody ever seen that before? It's on YouTube. Anybody?
I saw it.
In,
Yeah, you already know. Already. Right.
in the chat. Y'all need to check that out. Y'all need to really do that, right?
Hey Josh.
Y'all really that they had me laughing. Go ahead, Kev, for the dust.
Yeah. I just want to Kingdom. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Ada?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. You said something interesting. I want to get an answer to. Think when you first got on, you said that it's hard for you to believe in the biblical earth. Did you say that, or am I butchering what you said?
No, I said it's hard for me to believe in biblical cosmology.
Ah, right. So
Um,
why is
The
that if
flat
you don't
earth.
mind me at? Yeah, why is that? Why is it difficult for you?
so like the way the earth, when you see in the Bible, right, the ordinances in the heavens and in the skies and the air, right, they all say that it's rising and sunset and sun up is rising. But the Bible says that the sun and the moon are like racetrack. Well, no, wait. The book of I believe it's one of the apostles where it says, the sun and the moon are like racetracks going around the earth, not in a sense of spherical, but like just racing. Like the moon is
Right.
behind.
Yeah, they're moving. They're
Yeah,
moving.
right.
Mhm.
And modern day science says, I mean, science says people that make observant observations of the sun and the moon, they're over here saying it's rising and setting. And it doesn't
Who's
it
saying
doesn't
that?
like my science book I have.
The Bible says the sun rises and sets.
Right. Same thing.
Wait, where, bro?
You ain't never read where the sun sets
Oh
in
no,
the
no,
Bible?
I've read that,
It
but
said when the sun was up, the sun came up. The Bible, from our perspective and from the way the Bible is written, it's saying that the moon and the sun are moving.
yeah, I know.
What science says is they're not moving in the sense that it seems like from us. They're saying that the rotation of the earth gives the illusion that the sun and the moon is moving.
Yeah.
That's what science is saying.
Oh yeah,
That
that's
the
another
Bible.
thing. The rotation of the earth. That's one, like the whole thing about the earth spinning at speeds that's absolutely fast around and orbiting around the sun and the other planets orbiting around the sun. It doesn't really make sense, right? But I look at my Bible, it's just way different.
Yeah, I would say because the reason why
But
I asked it.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
no, it's okay. You can tell me. You're more
I was
wise than me, so I, gotta listen to my elders.
nah.
Nah, go
Nah,
ahead.
it's, nah, it's good. It's all good. Nah, I was gonna say yeah. The reason why I asked is because I didn't. And I've mentioned this before, but like I didn't believe in the flat Earth at all. Like up until recently, right? Like I thought the
That
whole
was
thing was like I thought the whole thing was garbage. And matter of fact, like I'll even say this, like for a long time I didn't understand how my A.B.T brothers were like talking about it or even believing it. I was like, what is going on with y'all? Like how do you believe in this? But the thing that really broke the spell for me, and by spell I mean the NASA spell, was one, I'm going to believe my Bible above all else, right? Even if
uh-huh.
something is difficult for me to understand. But what really sold me on biblical cosmology was the firmament. There's
Yeah.
no there is no way you can reconcile the firmament as it was understood in the Bible with modern day cosmology. There is absolutely no way. And I'll give you an example, right, that this was understood. Like a certain
Hmm.
people might, you might have some apologists like try to act like the firmament either wasn't solid or it was something that was like had gone away like millions upon millions of years ago. Like, and these might even be people who believe in the Bible. But if you go to Colossians 2 verse 5, right? I'm gonna read
Yeah.
Colossians 2 verse 5 says this. For though I be absent in the flesh, yet am I with you in the spirit, joying and beholding your order and the steadfastness of your faith in Christ. Now, somebody might ask, well, Kevin, why in the world would you go to this scripture? It has nothing to do with the flat earth. However, that word steadfast, kingdom, when you think of that, when you think of the word steadfast, what comes to mind?
Like you're not moving, you're steady.
Yeah, that's part of it. Steadfast is something that's firm,
Yeah, you're
solid.
firm.
Our faith in Christ, solid, steadfast, right?
Yeah.
Now check this out. If you look up that Greek word, right, for steadfast, it's G4733, right? And it's stereoma. This Greek word for stereoma is the same exact word that's used in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, when God talks about the firmament, right? Now, what's crazy about this New Testament blue letter entry is it tells you that, right? So G47 verse 33, right? In the strong says this, stereoma, that which has been made firm, the firmament, the
Mm.
arch of the sky, which in early times was thought to be solid. And they say thought because these people are trying to reconcile modern day cosmology with the Bible. But when you read the works of Josephus or anybody else, for that matter, around that time, they'll let you know clearly that the world was understood to have a solid dome over it, and the Bible is no different. So when I started seeing this, I was like, listen, I don't know what's happening with NASA, but the brothers are lying, dude. They're lying. Either NASA's lying or I gotta put my Bible down. It's that serious.
That
There's
was
no way. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, I agree. That was me because I was like, either I'm wrong or someone's lying. And
Right.
either I'm
Yeah.
getting tempted by the devil because he's the God of this world, or I'm either gotta trust in what the Bible says, something that I just not.
And
Yeah.
I just like to throw out a third possibility, or somebody ain't understanding the scriptures.
Yeah,
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
it's funny, and I'm gonna move on to Wayne Ritchie, and this just ain't that you care, but it does. It's funny that you said firmament. It's in the word firm.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? That's why they call it that. It's in the firm. But appreciate that mindset. And I'm not glad you brought that out too, Kel, brother does. And like he was telling the brother, like I said, worst case scenario, NASA is telling the truth. Does that mean that the Bible is definitely invalid? Because that still could mean that we don't have a good understanding of just how far this firmament expands. You follow what I'm saying? We ain't never been up there. You follow what I'm saying? We
I
don't.
disagree. I disagree, man. I don't. I think. I don't think what they propose works with the Bible at all. I don't think there's any other possibility. You either believe NASA, or you believe the
Like
Bible.
I'm talking about the actual firmament, like how far out it is. That's what I mean. Like they claim that it either doesn't exist or it's closer than what we're saying. That's what I'm talking
Well,
about.
well, the issue is it's like, for example, right? So, and you know this, and I'll make this quick point, and we can
Right.
move on. Genesis 1:14 says that the sun, moon, and stars are within the firmament, right?
Right.
They have they
Hmm.
their viewpoint has already established that the sun, moon, and stars are outside of the earth. Now, if
Right.
and they're saying that the universe expands endlessly. So if they're going to
Right.
make this firmament idea work, are they saying that the firmament expands endlessly? Because then that would be the opposite of something being firm, or
Well, no,
it
no, not them, not them. I'm talking about us. That's why I say even if their ideology about what the firmament is true in the sense of what it is. Like how far out have they gone? We don't know how far out have they. I don't believe they've actually gone as far as they claim they have. I don't even believe they made it to the moon.
they
To be
they
perfectly
they
honest.
they claim that now they claim that they can't go beyond low Earth orbit, which is another
Right.
problem because now they're saying they can't go beyond low Earth orbit, but when you look up how far our low Earth orbit is from where we are on Earth, it's it's
Mm-hmm.
it's 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 much closer than it's much closer than they say how far the moon is. So,
And it's
so it's
funny
like
you brought that up too. Have you seen those videos where they've been showing clouds passing behind the sun and the
I
moon?
have,
Like how
yep, I have. It doesn't make sense, and that's why like this is why like and somebody just simply put it to me one day, well, not just me. I mean, not me. I was watching this video and somebody was like, "Hey, listen, man, you're either gonna believe what the word says or you're not." And like
right,
I took that as a challenge, like, oh well, I believe my word, so I guess I got to put it down. But that was it.
right. I believe me personally, I believe like they're telling a very small percentage of the truth and they lying about a larger percent. I think they were getting us 5 to 10% about it. And I think the other 90% that they're lying about it is they're lying about it because they know it coincides with the Bible.
Right.
That's that's how I look at it. You follow what I'm saying? Right? I find it hard to believe that you can't give us a whole picture of the earth. That's all these years. You ain't even got to go to the moon. If you can make a satellite or a probe fly all the way down into Mars and probe the surface of Mars, you mean to tell me you can't put a camera on the back of that thing and just let us watch it slowly leave Earth and let us see the Earth in its entirety? Every picture of the Earth we've ever seen in our entirety is Photoshop. NASA admits this. Did everybody know that?
Correct. Yep.
Every every picture of it. I don't see what the problem is. If I would ask Kev does right now, get on your front porch and walk backwards from your house until you are far enough from your house to take a picture of your whole house. There will not be a problem with Kev does. And he's just walking on the ground using his legs. But we got these supposedly high-powered satellites and probes, but y'all can't give us a whole picture of Earth from a distance. But you can give us a picture of Mars, which is supposed to be millions of miles away. Come on, man. I ain't buying it. I'm just not. Put somebody until I see it. Come on. It ain't that hard. Y'all definitely, by the stuff they're describing, they have the capability. This is my whole thing. This is how I look at it. If you make a claim of capability and accomplishment, like what that means is I've done it before and it's possible for me to do it again. If you make a claim of accomplishment and capability, and every time somebody asks you, okay, show us, and you always got an excuse, you're lying. That's just all it is with it. You're lying, right? But I appreciate that Kev, but it does about that breakdown on that firmament and stuff too, right? And it's a lot more to it, especially you go into that Greek. Oh my God. But go ahead, Wayne Ritzy. Sorry for the wait. Wayne.
You can hear me?
Wayne Ritzy, what's up? I can hear you, Wayne.
Uh, um, Great class. I want to say that first. Oh, you always do a
Praise
good
God.
job. Oh, praises. All right, we gotta start off with. Well, my question is: they have a theory that we was only here for 6,000 years, from
Mm-hmm.
from the antediluvian time period to now. One, do
Right.
you agree with that? And two, when you go to Enoch, like near the end of Enoch, I got the separate book, so it's in chapter 93. It speaks on the epic periods about the 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, all the way to the ninth week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what like how does that fit in with 6,000 years? That doesn't make sense to
Well, what Enoch are you using? You got first
me.
Enoch or second Enoch or what? Because there's more
First,
than one.
first, first
Okay.
Enoch.
Now, where in the Bible does it say we've only been here 6,000 years?
It doesn't.
So that's already what is known as an argument from silence. So I can't reconcile something the Bible doesn't say with something Enoch does say.
Mhm.
Nobody can do that, right? It'll be like a woman coming to you and claiming that a child that she never had is your child. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, Wayne, this is your child that I never had. I never been pregnant before in my life, but this is your child. Now I need you to reconcile that with your actual child that you got by your wife.
Mm.
You can't reconcile something that was never stated or done with something that's actually here. You follow what I'm saying? Most people will say that if you calculate the time in the Bible, it gives you around 6,000 years. That's what they'll say. But nowhere in the Bible or in history does it ever say mankind has only been. I don't know how long mankind's been there.
Right.
I just don't know. Nobody really knows. That's
Yeah.
why science likes to put a big number on stuff. This is what science does. See, this is what religion does when they can't explain something. They say God did,
Mm.
right? When science can't explain something, let's put a real big number on it.
Mm.
That's what they do. That's their God. That's their faith. They go to big numbers. Why do they go to big numbers, Wayne?
To make it look like they're doing something.
Kind of, but they go to big numbers because they cannot be verified.
Mm.
If I tell you that this earth is, or this universe is billions of years old, how
Yeah.
can anybody ever verify that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They tell you that they say the sun gonna burn out one day. If they told me the sun was gonna burn out in 10 years, I'm like, okay, God willing, I'm still around. I might be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But they tell you the sun is gonna burn out in the next 2 billion years or something. Who the heck would even be around? They'd be like, yeah, see, they said it, they
Yeah,
called it.
Ain't got nobody have evidence for that.
Right. So I like to observe stuff. That's just what I do. What people say, what people do. One thing I know about science is whenever science needs to come up with an answer, put a big number on it. Y'all ever notice that? Put a
Yeah.
big number on it. Why don't we see the dinosaurs, right?
That's true.
Y'all found these fossils, there were actually bones and stuff, right? Well, why don't we see any of them today? Oh, they was billions of years ago, right? Billions of years. Those some pretty durable bones, bruh. Think about that. If dinosaurs existed billions of years ago, how durable do their bones have to be? Anybody ever thought about that before? I mean, whole skeletons are preserved of these things. How durable do your bones have to be if after billions of years, they're all intact? Your neck bone, your rib cage, your legs, your arms, billions of years and fully preserved. We ain't talking about frozen. We talking about in the ground. They dug and in the ground billions of years ago. How long does it take a bone to dissolve? Even a dinosaur bone. I'm just saying. Somebody in chat said, it's not the bones that are preserved, it's the bones that slowly get replaced with minerals to correct you. They are very rare. The skeletons being found are very rare, Prism. I'm talking about when you go to a museum and you see whole dinosaur bones preserved. Those are the minerals that are preserving the bones. So the minerals preserved a perfect skeleton of a dinosaur. Right, Prism? Right? So why don't the minerals preserve the perfect skeleton of anything else? Why just the dinosaurs? Oh, okay. So if I go out to the ground and dig up somewhere, I can find fully preserved skeletons, no bomb influence. So nothing turns to dust anymore.
Mm. Right.
So ashes to ashes, dust to dust, that's a lie.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, right?
No, that makes
That's a
sense.
heck of some that's a heck of some preservation right there. Still for billions of years. That's better. That's better than the refrigerator. You follow what I'm saying? And what about the stuff they find in the water? So the water preserving them too? And I happen to know that sometimes these museums fill in the gaps. Like what bones they don't have, they manufacture bones made like out of plastic or whatever to, replace whatever's missing. Because you can make an educated guess if you found a whole human skeleton and an arm was missing.
Mhm.
You follow what I'm saying? You put an arm there that looks just like the other arm, that's cool because you got enough of the skeleton to make an educated guess that this is what the other arm looks like, right? But it's a lot of stuff that they say that they put a lot of big numbers on, right? I cannot agree that fossil fuels is due to billions of years because I wasn't around billions of years. That's that putting a big number on it. And then you put an explanation with it to justify you putting a big number on it. That's what science does. Science say this is what happened and this is why, right? Until I see a bone last 2 billion years, 2 billion years? Come on. How is it that science can put numbers on stuff that's longer than a million human lifespans? How can they do that?
They usually say a technology, but
Who invented the technology?
right, man.
Right. Hey,
Exactly.
who programs these computers to come up with these calculations and stuff? Who does that? Who does it? Wayne? Wayne don't froze up. It's like your camera froze, Wayne.
So,
Now you're
man,
moving. Man,
yeah,
don't y'all understand that the machines that they use are computers? Every computer has a what, Wayne? A Wayne?
every
Every computer
computer
has a what?
has a data
Anybody can
system.
answer this question too. Every computer has a what? What do you got to do you got a programmer? Every computer has a programmer. Am I right?
Yeah,
So who's programming the computers to say this stuff is billions of years old?
man.
Man. So if I picked up a rock right now and you said, Josh, how old is this rock? And I say it's a billion years old. And you say, Josh, how do you know that? If I say, hold on 1 second, because I said so.
Yeah. Basically, that's what they're doing.
I say the rock is a billion years old, and then I create a computer that agrees with me. That's all they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Bull. You don't know how old that rock is. And science have been discovered to be wrong with dating stuff, even from biblical times. It were times where scientists made claims that something was like tens of thousands of years old, and then another science came back later on and found out that thing wasn't even 500 years old.
Mm.
They made mistakes with their computers.
Mm-hmm.
How can a computer make a mistake? How do they get it wrong? Because you be off by so many years. Like I'm saying, man lies. And now we're in an age where it's okay to not even say what a woman is. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't believe that the person who I'm asking the question to can also come invent something that gives me the answer and say it's agreeing with me. Right? Of course it's gonna agree with you. You the one programmed it.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you got any other question on Wayne before we move on to ooh.
Nope, that was the one. You probably gonna get into this in one of your lessons, the epics, where it
Yes,
references the epics here.
right. Because um, we got to learn the difference between education and indoctrination.
Mm.
We got to learn the difference. See, how many planets are there, Wayne, according to science, in our solar system?
7,
Nope. Anybody
9,
know?
9, something like
Nope.
that.
Anybody in the chat? Come on, little kids.
But a
What was
while.
the question?
How many planets are in our solar system according to science? They got it right in the chat. It's 8. How many was it when I was growing up?
9.
9. If y'all in school, who in the chat right now is still in high school or under the age of 18? Give me a W if that's you. You are Soul?
Yeah,
How old are you, Soul?
16.
If you went into your science class right now, or y'all was out on outside in the gym doing recess or whatever, and you said there were 9 planets, what would your classmates say to you?
I mean, most people in my school don't pay attention, so they'd probably believe me.
Right. The intelligent students. I'm talking about the ones that actually read the books.
Well, they disagree with me because science says that planet was a dwarf planet.
What would they call you if you
They
insisted
would call me a
that
liar.
they're wrong?
A liar.
And they'd also call you what? From an intellectual perspective,
A dunce.
Yeah.
they call you stupid, right? But when I was growing up, they said there were 9 planets, and Pluto was one of them. And if
Yeah,
I
that-
went out then and I was in the gym, same scenario with you, so 16 years old, and I'm arguing with them saying, no, it's 9 planets. What would they call me?
Smart.
No, I mean back then.
Oh, a nerd.
No, if I said there were 9, I'm sorry, I reversed it. If I said it was 8 back then,
Oh, they call you stupid.
they call me stupid. Wait a minute. How is it so that you grow up in your generation, if you tell the smart kids there are 9 planets, they'll call you stupid. They'll say, no, it's not, it's only 8. But when I was growing up, if I said there were 8 planets, when we said there were 9, they called me stupid. So is this a matter of intelligence or is this a matter of people switching up what they want something to be? And we just rolling with it.
Second thing you said, we just rolling with it.
It's the second thing. See, this is what we do. Yes, switching up. They said, look it up. Yes, that is switching up. Switching up means you say something one time and then you change it and say something else. That's what
yeah,
switching up means,
yeah,
right? At one time, they said there were 9 planets. Pluto was a planet. Then they turned around and changed and said, nah, come to think of it, Pluto is not a planet. It's a dwarf planet, which is stupid because the word planet is still in the name. It's like saying Wayne, if he's a midget, he's no longer a man. He's a midget man. He's still a man.
mm,
That doesn't make any sense. How you gonna make the word dwarf recategorize what it is? Dwarf just means small. And that's what dwarf means, y'all? Tiny, little.
yep.
Why they playing word games with us? Is Pluto a planet? Yes or no? Well, it's a dwarf planet. Is brother Josh a human or not? Well, he's a little tiny human. Do we call little people? Do we say they're not human
So,
because of their size? And if the size determines if it's a planet or not, why say it's not a planet, but then put the word planet in it? Just call it something else. Call it an asteroid or something. I don't know. Don't even put
Right,
the word planet in it.
right.
It's the same, like Solo says, the same thing they do with the word fetus. Is Pluto a planet? Don't tell me it's not, but the word planet is used to describe it. What the heck? Sometimes I just wonder if they're testing our intelligence. But appreciate that, Wayne.
No problem, man.
Wayne Ritchie. Y'all try to say Wayne Ritchie 3 times fast.
Yeah,
Hey,
That's a tongue twister right there. Go
hey,
for it, Kel,
Josh.
but it does. You can try
Yeah,
it. I
yeah.
thought Kel but about to try it.
Wayne Ritchie. Boy, don't play with me
Oh,
now.
he can do it. He can do it.
Don't play
I've
with
been
me
on for that.
now.
He'll be Rain Witsy messing with me.
Hey, real quick before you move on,
Yes, sir.
Prism had a question for you in the chat, and it could easily get lost. So and it's about flat Earth. So I figured it was addressed to you, and I figured you might want to answer it now before we move on.
Okay, what is it?
Oh, he wrote, "Is believing fossils are fake and the Earth is flat salvation jeopardizing?"
No. And I don't believe that fossils are fake. I just don't believe they're as old as people say they are. You understand what I'm saying? Like I can believe that Kelva the Dust is a live human male talking to me. But if he tell me he's 120, I don't believe that.
Right.
So I'm not denying the existence of said fossils. I'm just saying I don't believe they're as old as they say they are. I don't believe anything is as old as somebody say it is if it was before humans could be around to witness it. You follow what I'm saying? That's how we know how old something is. You know, we got history of people who were around during that time. That's how you age stuff. I don't believe in aging stuff beyond human witnessing it. That's why we can't age God. You know why? Because God existed before there was a such thing of time,
Right.
right?
They
They
do
they,
the
they
same.
say these weird things. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, I was gonna say they do the same thing with genetics, right? They'll tell you that, haplogroup whatever, was in existence 35,000 years ago or something like that. And it's like, well, hold up,
Mhm.
man. Like that completely contradicts like the age of people on the earth. Like just the
Right.
people alone, because haplogroups are obviously dealing with people, not the earth itself. So I
Right.
agree, like, certain things about science are cool, but we got to run it through the Bible filter to believe it.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, the stuff they claim, it doesn't really prove or do anything for humanity. You think the earth is so old, okay, and so what? Right? Scientists lie too. I can show y'all a lot of cases in history of scientists not only getting stuff wrong, but getting caught by other honest scientists. At one time, science was teaching that black men and women had an extra bone in their foot. Look up something called phrenology that scientists used to use to try to put that, that big old clip you see put on our heads and stuff to try to prove that the Negro is mentally inferior to the European race.
Negro a
Y'all like
beast.
science? Exactly. Y'all like science ain't ever had a motive. Like the first thing we always assume, let's be honest, because I was the same way. Why do we always assume that scientists always tell the truth? Why do they get a pass on from everybody else? Why do we think they're just gonna tell us the truth?
I mean, they went to school for it, right?
Right? There's the answer. They
Okay,
went to school for it.
yeah. You got people in university right now calling themselves the woke, and they can't even tell you what a woman is. They in school, right?
Yeah.
I went to school. When I was growing up, they said it was 9 planets. Now you in school, they say it's 8. We both went to school, so which one of us right?
I mean, I
Which one
guess
of us right? So
I guess
I can't hardly
I
hear you. Got to
mean
turn your volume up
the one that's saying 8 planets is, you know, we only have 8
because
planets.
that's the latest claim. Latest don't mean correct, does it?
No.
It don't mean correct. See, y'all don't understand that a lot of stuff that's science now was not science to previous science. They keep updating stuff. Science itself will tell you by nature nothing is concrete. That's why in science they never say 100%. They always say 99.9 because the creed of science is anything is susceptible to change. That's what they teach. So there's really no ultimate truth with science. It's just we believe strongly more than in some things than others. But so what was your question? Now that we got you up here, what do you got sold?
I actually needed guidance on a situation that happened to me earlier.
Okay.
So me and my brother, something happened. I don't remember what happened exactly, but he started saying like terrible things to me and things that were actually supposed to hurt my feelings. And I just said, "Yep, oh wow, oh wow, yep, And I said, "You can sit down right there and just keep spouting them insults at me." And then he told me to get up, and I already knew I was gonna get hit. And then he hit me, and he said, "Always remember you're below me. You're a B word and a P word, and you were scared of people that had a gun. You're not about that life." And then walked off. And then I ended up sitting back down and just praying that, God forgive him. I don't know if I did the right thing because in that moment I
And
really
and
felt like hitting
and then
him.
and then after that, you told your parents,
No,
right?
no,
Well, that's where you messed up right now. Is your mom and dad together?
no.
Who do you live with?
My mom,
And who does he live with?
our mom.
Why didn't you tell your mom?
I mean, I don't know. I just
The older brother is obviously bullying you and abusing you, verbally and physically. And your mom is right there. And when I say right there, I don't mean she was right there when it happened. I mean available. Why didn't you say anything to her?
I don't know, I just felt like I really didn't have to do anything in that moment except for just forgive him.
You can still forgive him and tell on him. You know, the one doesn't cancel out the other. I'm just saying. You can say, I forgive you, bro. I'm telling mom. See how that works?
Yeah.
You don't let anybody physically and verbally abuse you in your own household when there's an authority figure who could put a stop to it. Now, if you're saying your mom won't do anything or you don't believe she'll do anything, that's a different story. Do you think your mom would have said something to your brother or punished him or something if
Probably
you told
not.
on him?
Probably not.
So you what you're saying is your mother is okay with her older son abusing her younger son.
I wouldn't say
You throwing your
that.
mom
Nah, I wouldn't
okay?
say
So
that. I just don't know what she would have done. So I just sat down.
you ne-
Like
you,
as
you
soon as he
never
hit
will
me.
know if you don't say anything to her.
Like as soon as he
What's gonna happen if your brother pushes you too far one day and you pick up something and go upside his head? Your mom walks in. What you do that for? Why you do that to your big brother? Well, this has been going on for a while. I just finally got fed up, mom, and I snapped. Why didn't you tell me when it first happened? That's exactly what she's gonna say to you, isn't it?
I mean, probably. Or probably call the
If
cops.
you tell her that he's been picking on you for the longest and you finally snapped and knocked him out with something, if you tell her that, she's going to say to you what any parent would say, why didn't you tell me this was going on? That's what she's going to say. Wouldn't you say that? If you was a parent, put yourself in her position. If you were a dad and you had two sons and the older was abusing the younger and the younger never said anything to you, and then the younger finally snapped and went upside the older's head and you walk in on the situation and the younger tells you, I did it, dad, because he had been picking on me for the longest. What are you going to say to that younger one? What are you going to ask him?
Why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't you tell me? At least if you go to your mom and she don't do anything and you end up snapping and the same scenario plays out, you can say, Mom, I told you this dude was bothering me. I told you to do something about it. You wouldn't do nothing about it, so I laid him out. See, you at least have that justification.
I just don't know how to explain situations like that. Cause it happened.
The same way you explained it to me. Mom, I was sitting down. He told me to, if I get up, he's gonna hit me. I got up and he hit me and he started cursing me out. Same
No,
way you told me.
like that was so what happened was he told me something and then I responded and then he got mad and I was like, "Oh yeah, yep." And he started saying those things to me. And I was like, "Oh
What
yeah."
did he tell you that
I
made you
actually I
respond that pissed him off?
I actually don't even remember because it just happened so fast. I was like, "Okay." And then I told him to sit down. He said, "Get up, get up." And then I was like, "All right." I took my earbuds out and then I got up and he hit me and I was like, "Oh wow." And I just sat
Where
down
did he
like
hit you at?
he hit, he tried to hit me in my chest, but I moved out of instinct and he hit my arm. And my arm still hurts. Like that punch felt like he was actually trying to hurt me.
How much older than you is your brother?
7 years.
So he's an adult,
Yeah.
right? And he's putting hands on you. You don't think you need to tell your mom? This is not like a 1 year, like a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, bro. That's a whole grown man putting his hand on you.
Hey, so
My
is your
advice to
dad?
you: tell your dad. I mean, tell your mom.
I don't talk to my dad though.
Well, I meant to say your mom.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kelvin. Does you about to say something?
Yeah, he kind of answered. I was going to ask him where's his dad, but when you say you don't talk to him, is that because he's not present, or he lives in the house with you, but y'all have a bad relationship?
He lives with his wife, but he ended up saying something. He told me he basically kicked me out of his house. So I stopped talking to him since.
Not to get too sidetracked, why'd he kick you out?
So I wanted I wanted to do YouTube and he kept pushing me. He kept just saying it's not going to pay you well, it's not going to work out. And I ended up I ended up rolling my eyes or whatever, and he snapped. He told me to grab my shoes, get up, you're going to your mom's house, get out. And so I was just sitting there, and I was like, okay. And I grabbed my shoes, and I just ended up walking home.
Hey, his dad sound like he more nonsense than Mr. Isaac ever done.
Like for real. Like I thought my dad was tough. Good night. I'll say this, man. Like, is your older brother? Is it just you two, or do you both have other siblings?
It's just us.
Yeah, man. Like I would say this because like I'm the oldest, right? And I've done some dumb stuff, man. To like just not to go too long on this, but like I mean, if my younger brother was here, bro, he could tell you some stories, man. I remember we were on the school bus on the way back home, and my brother and I were arguing, and I'm 3.5 years older than him, and he was talking slick. I didn't like what he had to say, so at the time, we used to have like these instruments, right? Because we were in band by force. We didn't want to be, but like, my mom had this idea, like, because my grandfather was a great musician, like we had to be musicians and we were terrible. So so we had like he had this trumpet, and I did not like what my brother said. And this is back when I had real anger issues. So I took the trumpet out of the case and I smashed him in the face with it. Right now, what that did, like I hit him on the bridge of his nose. Blood was everywhere on the seat, on the floor of the bus, like, and he was screaming. Obviously, they had to stop the bus, and long story made short, my brother got brought to the hospital. I didn't feel real good as a result of that anger impulse, right? So sometimes older brothers can do real dumb stuff. And like I saw the error of my ways. Like I got to the point where I'm like, hey, listen, man, eventually my brother gonna grow up. And I've heard too many stories about younger brothers knocking their older brothers out cold. I'm not trying to be one of them. You see what I'm saying? So I got my act together. I would say this, like, if your brother's like 7 years older than you and he's laying hands on you, um you really do need to tell your mother, like Josh said. And if she can't fix the problem, like, how old are you? Are you 16, 17? How old are you?
16.
Yeah, I would say this, man, like if it gets real physical, you might need to get the police involved. But last question I'll ask you about this: do you feel like your brother, and I'm asking this genuinely, do you feel like your brother would kill you if you did any of that?
I mean, who knows? I really don't know. Actually,
I don't think he's trying to throw his life away just over that. You know what I'm saying? I think that if you tell your mom that he's putting hands on you, and you tell her, ask her, can you tell him not to put his hands on me? And if you don't think your mom's gonna take it serious, the next time he put his hands on you, call them people on him. That's all you got to do. It's about your safety at the end of the day. Nobody need to be putting hands on anybody that didn't put hands on them first. I have a very strict keep your hands to yourself policy, right? Do not touch me. Don't put your hands on me if I did not put my hands on you. If you do, male or female, I'm going to put my hands back on you. You can say what you want. You can feel whatever you want, but don't put your hands on nobody. Your brother don't need to be doing that like now. If it's like some old big brother just trying to toughen you up type of deal, that's different. But if he's doing it because he's mad at you, no, I'm not your punching bag, bro.
And I would say
Because
this.
if you snap one day, then he gonna be the one getting in trouble, Kev. You feel me?
Right. And I would say this, like, obviously, Soul, we're hearing your side of the story. Um, but I would say this just for you, because you're telling me your dad kicked you out for some YouTube stuff, and I'm like, okay. But what I would say to you, man, like if because I don't know you, but if you're the type of person to pop off at the mouth, you just might need to quiet up. You see what I'm saying? Like, just shut your mouth. And that doesn't mean that people deserve, that doesn't mean you deserve to get hit. But like if that's your reality and that's what's leading to it, even though like people should control themselves, you have a responsibility here too, man. You just might need to shut up. And if your brother says something stupid, just walk away. Don't eye roll. Don't do anything like that unless you want to get hands that you shouldn't be getting.
Exactly. Those
You know,
that pop off at the mouth tend to get popped in the mouth.
because when he hit me, like that Bible verse when it says "turn the other cheek," it played in my head, and I just sat back down because I was gonna
Well,
fight back.
that's not what that means anyway,
No,
though. I hear what you're saying.
I was actually gonna hit him back, but
Thank you, Josh.
I'm sorry. I really don't know the
Right.
Bible well. I'm still trying to
I'm
look up
just saying
more.
I know the verse, but I'm saying people take that verse out of context. It's like what Kev just told you, right? You can't when you provoke people, you don't get to dictate how they respond. You follow what I'm saying? Like, you started, you gotta be prepared, whatever come with it. You can't be like, well, this is your limit of how much you can come at me. You don't get to tell people. That's why my whole philosophy is don't start anything with anybody. You follow what I'm saying? Right? And if you know that your brother has a temper and that you know how to push his buttons, stop pushing his buttons. He talk the crazy, walk away. If he just abuse you regardless, tell your mom. Mom don't do anything, get the police involved. Your mom ain't gonna like the police coming because if the police come, they gonna start looking at her. That's what's gonna happen. So she'll probably say something to him. But I just hope you understand that. So that's what you got to do. We got to move on. If you got any more questions about it, hit me up in my DM and we might be able to talk, outside of this, or you can hit Kelvin the Dust in his DM, okay?
Uh-huh. I
Miss
also
Pearl. Miss Pearl, Pearly Whirly. We heard that you got fianced.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Engaged woman now.
Indeed.
Indeed, sir. Um, I came up here for a reason. I forgot. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I think I sent you a message on Instagram right now because I'm embarrassed to admit I got confused a little bit halfway. But then you said towards the end something about Revelation, how like the end of times, and then you said, it's not the mark of the beast, or like what you think it is, and then you took us all the way to Isaiah. So I was like, oh snap.
Oh, I
So
was saying that what the Bible describes as the last days for us, like one of the signs it gives, it doesn't, even though we know that's heading toward the end when we see all that stuff happening. I was just saying that the Bible does not say that those are the last days. It don't put that out there as a sign of the last days. That's all I was saying.
okay, so like Revelations, like because I'm pretty sure you heard, actually, as a matter of fact, when I first came up on stage one time, I asked you
Mhm.
directly about Revelations and you sent me back to an old class, but that was like so long ago. But
Mm.
I'm sure you heard, people claiming nowadays, like, oh, we're actually on the third trumpet, or oh, the third seal, the third seal. And
Mhm.
I'm like, and I remember you actually mentioned one class one time where you said, um, oh, if we're already in Revelation times, like, how come we didn't hear the trumpets? Why y'all only heard it? And it was only in America. Like, why only here?
Right.
Nobody
Mhm.
else. So I was telling my sister, I'm like, I'm trying to articulate my question because I can't like seem to gather my thoughts. They're all over the place. But um, so it's the end of times, like the end, like the one you took us to in Isaiah. That's
Mhm.
when like the 1,000 years reign, or
Yeah,
before
that's in that time period. Yes, inside of it. Yes.
the Isaiah verse.
Yes.
Okay, so Revelation is our warning of the end times, of when,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, you
Yeah,
see
it's
that?
a warning of it. Yes, like it's a warning or a prophecy of our end times,
Yeah.
right? But the term last days, even though it's right close to it,
Yeah.
but I was just letting people know that when you say the last days, like for instance, if we were alive and all that stuff in Revelation about the mark of the beast was going on right now in our time, Saturday, right now, going on.
Yeah.
Miss Pearl, Kev of the Dust, Kevin J, Keanu, we would say, oh, the end is near because we know what comes after these few years of that. We would say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we're being just scripturally precise, we wouldn't call that time period the last days. We would call the 1,000-year millennium reign the last days. We'll say, you could say we're getting close to the last days. You could say that if you're
Okay.
just being precise. But even still, if me and Cal the Dust is in the Great Tribulation, and we know it's only a year left before Jesus come back, me and Cal the Dust, we'll say, man, we in the last days of this tribulation.
Right.
You see that?
Yeah.
We'll say that. So we're still see, in order for you to be in the last days or something, all that means is that you know it's about to come to an end.
Okay.
That's all that means, right?
So, but when revelation happens, like you mentioned, everyone's gonna hear. It's not just gonna be like, okay, just here in America and then nowhere in
Right.
Mexico.
It's gonna be worldwide. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So in regards to that, I know like there's a lot of prophecy and sometimes like at least when I have read, I think I read Revelation too many times, but there is prophecy like I don't understand there. But is there
It's
anywhere?
prophecy. It's prophecy. I don't understand there. I mean,
Okay.
that book is a puzzle. It's a riddle.
Mm-hmm.
It's prophecies in the Old Testament that I don't understand. It's prophecies in the Old Testament, Pearl, and New Testament that the people it was given to didn't understand.
Yeah.
So how are
Okay.
we supposed to understand?
No, that's understandable. Makes me feel less like, oh, okay, I'm not that dumb. Because I'm like, I feel
Maybe
like,
God reveal it us, but
yeah,
you know,
I feel like those. I'm like, I don't understand the parables. Can you speak to me like a 4-year-old, please? Because I don't get it. But so nowhere in that book does it state about a nuclear war. Because there's always these prophecies about like, oh, the war is gonna break out. You know,
no,
like
no, no. In Revelation, it does talk about the nations fighting against each other before Jesus comes back. It tells you that. And if we're looking at the future, what kind of weapons do you think they're going to be using? If it's a world war,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't see what. Here's the thing about nuclear weapons that a lot of people don't understand. I'm not saying that it could never happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard the war phrase mutually assured destruction?
I don't think I have.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's when you care, but it does hurt about it. That's when people have nukes where if I got a nuke and you got a nuke, if I launch my nuke, you launch yours. Both sides are annihilated.
Mm-hmm.
Nukes only work if only you got nukes. You follow what I'm saying? Now that's not to say somebody can't just go crazy and be like, okay, we don't care. You launch a nuke at America, America gonna launch a nuke right back. We ain't gonna sit there and just let you destroy us. Most nations are like that. They're sore losers. If I'm going down, you going down too.
Yeah.
And most people know that to launch a nuke is suicide. If you're launching it towards another nation that got nukes, because they're gonna pick it up on the radar and they're gonna fire right back.
Yeah.
You see how that goes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And at
Does
this
that,
point,
does that mean that there won't be that?
yeah,
What?
I said, and at this point, everyone, from what I've heard, everyone has missiles and nukes.
Exactly. See, if everybody carried the nuke, then what's the point?
Yeah. So the
But
point,
don't get it twisted. But don't get it. But hold on, Miss Pearl.
yeah.
Don't get
Sorry.
it. Mutually assured destruction does not mean that's the end of all the fighting. Like you can have two countries, they can nuke themselves out of existence. But one thing we do know is that they're going to be fighting each other. And then when Jesus comes back, it's going to be like, okay, let's get him.
No.
right? So they might be nuking and shooting and bombing or whatever. I don't know exactly what particular weapons they're going to use. I just know that when Jesus comes back, that's when they're going to turn on him. You
Wait,
understand?
saying they're gonna turn on him like the nations?
They're going to turn against him. Turn against him. That's what I mean.
Oh wow.
Kind of like me and you fighting, and then Kev of the Dust show up, and we be like, well, let's put off what we're doing, Pearl. Let's get Kev of the Dust.
Oh wow.
So, kind of like he's the greater enemy. So
Yeah,
let's get
yeah.
him.
Oh, that's crazy.
People with history all the time. See, if you and I are fighting and Kevin shows up, individually, Kevin could beat either one of us. But if we team up, we got a chance of beating them. So what people will do, and this happened all throughout history, what they'll do, and even not just in war, in the drug gang, if you got two drug dealers and their competitors, they'll be beefing, and then another competitor comes along with the potential to outdo both of them. They'll stop fighting, they'll call a temporary truce, and they'll attack him. And then after they take care of him, then we'll see who the last man standing is. Perfect example of this in anime, Kev of the Dust, when Goku teamed up with Piccolo to fight Raditz. Remember that, Kev of the Dust?
Yeah, early Dragon Ball Z. Yep.
Early Dragon Ball. They called a temporary truce to take out a stronger opponent that neither of them could beat individually. And they said, okay, once he done, we'll settle our score. People do that all the time, right? So that's
Yeah.
what the nations are going to be doing. They're going to be fighting each other. Jesus going to show up, and they're all going to be like, yo, take this dude out. And they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm. I did not know
See that?
that. That's this like, and like I told you, like I read the book of Revelation, so this is like news to me.
Right.
What you could do too, if you go back and read like Ezekiel chapter 38, 39, something like that, there's a lot of details as it relates to this event as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not exactly this, but around that time. I can't remember. I'm doing this off memory.
Yeah. Okay, I'll check it out for sure. Thank you.
Right. But I always remember mutually assured destruction. That's why most people don't go nuclear, because you're going to get nuked right back.
So all these talks and all these rumors of wars that are going on right now, like they don't face you.
No. Why would
Okay.
it?
Okay.
There's been, mankind. Can you name me one time in history where mankind was completely at peace?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
So mankind has always been warring. If I
Yeah.
let that phase me, I'd be scared all the time. There are wars going on right now. See, when we hear the word war, we always think on a national scale, one nation versus another. On a global scale, world war. There are people fighting. They're fighting over in Palestine right now. Don't y'all watch the news? Y'all know
Yeah.
that, right? Everybody in the chat, Kev of the Dust. You know how long they've been fighting over in the Middle East? Why do you think people used to say back in the day, peace in the Middle East? Y'all know why we used to say that?
Because
Because they
we're
always
always
fighting in the
fighting.
Middle East. Because they
Right.
always fighting in the Middle East. They stay fighting. Somebody right now shooting at somebody right now in the Middle East. They stay fighting. If I was worried about that, I'd stay worried. And it escalates, and then they don't ever have, it calms down. They don't ever have peace. It just lulls between war. That's all it is, right? But I don't care about any wars or rumors of wars. And if something happens where to the point where they're gonna nuke America and there's no way we can survive, then what can I do? If the
That
government aimed a miniature nuclear missile at your house just big enough to destroy your house, and they got you trapped in there, Pearl, what can you do?
Stock up on food, guns, ammo.
I said if the nuclear missile is aimed at our house.
Yeah, nah, I'm joking
Oh,
because
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you can stock up
yeah,
all you want. Yeah.
yeah,
no, I mean
because
I live
People do.
I live in the center of downtown LA. I heard that if even the smallest nuke that they have in power were to hit here, I would disappear completely. I wouldn't
Yeah,
even
you just, yeah.
be able to
I'm more
run.
afraid. I'm more afraid of Fallout. I'm more afraid of Fallout than the actual nuke because the
Oh,
nukes kill instantly.
no, yeah, that's
Huh?
crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you don't want to mess with, that radiation and all that stuff afterwards. That's the real hard part. The people who die instantly, they got it easy.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
No, no, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know? So
Um,
that's all it is.
I just wanted also to tell you I wasn't able to listen to last week's class, but when we got out of camping, my fiance and I were listening to it, and we were like, wow, like we haven't finished the class, but the class so far from what we heard is like amazing. And it's like,
Praise God.
yeah, his family is Christian, Sunday going Christian, and I believe his mom is like a Jehovah Witness. So his mom does keep the Sabbath because that's what they do. But his other family is like Christian. But whenever we tell them that we like abide by the commandments and we try to do our best to keep up with the law, like they're always fighting him and telling him like that we're no longer bound by the law and all these stuff. So he understands from the classes that he has listened to you preach. He's like, oh, they're free gracers. But there was one verse that you mentioned there that was like, whoa, that's it. When I think you said like these are a shadow of things to come, the holy days and the Sabbath. I was like, whoa,
Mhm.
like, you read your Bible and stuff, like, I don't know, I feel like God, like, just gives us a way of showing, like, at least He shows you how to teach us how to, like, see things that we probably, like, pass by and just don't even really understand. And then here you come, like,
God.
Saturday, and you're like, boom. And we're like, whoa, we're like mind blown. Like, we were so mind blown because I was like, look, next time your family tells you anything, just tell them, like, just show them this verse and be like, well, then why does it say here that these are a shadow of things to come and we're not supposed to keep the Sabbath or the holy days anymore? And then just like hang
Exactly.
the mic.
And
Yeah.
here's another thing too. They're only a shadow of things to come if somebody is doing them. That's
Mm-hmm.
what makes them a shadow of things to come. Just like the sacrifices were a shadow of Jesus coming to die for our sins. You can't have a shadow of something being to come if you're not doing it. And when he told the Colossians that these are a shadow of things to come, that means they were practicing them. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the way I like to describe that, a shadow of something to come. Shadows usually follow people. So how can something be a shadow of something that's arriving? I like to say, y'all ever seen the scary movies where the shadow of the villain is approaching and then the villain walks out? That's how something can be the shadow of something to come. You see the shadow approaching.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't seen that before, right? You ever seen it before, Kev, but it does? It's an old horror movie trope.
Seen what?
Like in a horror movie trope where the killer is coming, show his shadow approaching first before he gets there.
Yeah,
There's like a shadow of what's coming.
right.
You
That's
follow what I'm
true.
saying? That's an approaching shadow, right? That's what it is for us when we're keeping the Sabbath day. It's just drawing nearer and nearer into the actual thing that's the shadow that's making the shadow shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah. And honestly, that verse that you took us today in today's class even reinforced because it said, out of
Mhm.
Zion the law shall come forth. I was like,
That's right.
whoa, there it goes again. So
And
yeah, like again, Brother Josh, praise God for putting you in all of our lives. And
right.
I'm just grateful and blessed that we really like are part of a ministry where we don't have to fire you. Instead, we hire you every weekend, and you know it.
Hashtag fire brother Josh. Don't
Tell my fiance
be surprised they try to do that.
we're gonna get you a shirt, and you're gonna have to wear it on Saturdays. It's gonna say hashtag fire your pastor.
Oh, I'm already making that shirt.
Oh,
That's
you
one of
are?
my merch I'm making.
Oh, well
Yep.
then, yeah, put it up
And
ASAP.
people say they want and people say they gonna get it too. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Hashtag fire your pastor. You know
no,
what I'm
you
saying?
should hire your pastor, and then in the back hire, and then hashtag hire my pastor, and then
Hire me.
And it will be
Right?
like one of those gifs that people be making about you, those little memes.
Oh boy, they be killing me with them too, man. Especially my guy, Special Agent. You know,
That's the
Special
best.
Agent Delta Niner. Hmm. But
Yeah.
again, congratulations, again on your engagement, and keep us posted on when the actual wedding will occur. Just do me one favor: don't fall like your sister was at the reception dance, and don't we don't need you to fall too. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Told her, I
What?
was like, he loves to bring that up. But he's like, yep, he
Oh,
sure does.
you the one posted it. You the one posted it, Pearl. I said something to you about it first.
I know,
You
I'm
gonna
sorry.
post that?
It was
You
just,
did
I
that.
just love how Eli just like moved on to the side. He was like, oh,
I was like, dang, like
why?
she tripped on nothing, y'all. She tripped. She was in place. She wasn't even walking.
It was
She
like
was
drag.
standing in place. She fell for literally no. Did the devil triple up? I,
It
I,
was
I don't know.
she was dancing too hard. I think she slipped on
I
her
was,
dress.
man. I was on the floor too. I fell after she fell, laughing.
I was telling her, I was like, my dad
I
and
had
my
to rewatch that thing about 10 times, man. I was a little bit cry. I even told Nautica about it. I was like, Nautica, you need to see this. You know what I'm saying?
I was
I
telling
was,
her my dad
oh
and
man.
my brother went to save you, like ran to you. And then like my brother-in-law just was like, I'll scooch on over here. Like, oh,
Hmm.
and yeah. No, well, we are planning to do the civil on December for our anniversary. And then
Hmm.
also hopefully my parents can make it.
Hmm.
So that's when we'll just do the civil, but obviously big wedding party, hopefully next year in the fall, God
Don't
willing.
nobody party like the Mexicans.
For
Just
sure.
saying, y'all know.
It's my theme. It's a Mexican wedding.
You know what I'm saying? So that
Mexican.
means the actual wedding gonna start on what day?
Um,
What-
well, like civil, December.
Sometime in the fall, December
Yeah,
of
oh yeah,
of
yeah.
next year or this year?
Next year. And then
Okay, so
for this
2025.
2020, what are we? 20. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
next year 2025. So that means if y'all start partying in your wedding in December 2025, it should be done by July of the same year. Okay, we good. That's how long they celebrate. They're gonna be partying to July of the same year. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Of the next year. It's gonna be because they're gonna be in December 2025. So by July 2026, they'll be done. Something like that.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Cause parties in pueblitos, like in little towns, yeah, they're like a whole week. So yeah,
That's what I'm saying. They gonna party forever.
here,
You know what I'm saying?
and they be
I'm
getting
just telling you.
gifts all those 7 days of the celebration,
Yeah,
getting
I keep
gifts.
telling y'all, man. If you go if you go to a Mexican party, make sure you rest up first. Take a nap before you go. Don't go after work.
Oh
Take
yeah.
a nap before you make sure you already rested up because they gonna keep you there. They ain't gonna let you leave. You don't be one of the like special invited guests. I ain't going to that party because I know they're gonna be looking. Hey, Josh, you made it out. I'm on the radar. You know what I'm saying? Nope.
Yep.
Tell but the dust. Don't do it.
And
Anybody for A.B.T. Don't go.
and you know what? They'll start you like the first day of the party. They'll start you with like coffee and bread. So it just gets better from there with food.
I think Coral, she told me the other day. I think she said they still having her reception. Did she get married like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
They still having a reception. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Hey, make no sense.
No, but thank you so much for for congratulating, and again for everyone in the chat. I think my sister told me that you guys were writing to me, but I wasn't in class that day. But thank you everyone. Please keep us in your prayers because spiritual warfare is already starting.
Yes, indeed.
It's
Praise
already
God.
starting. I already told my sisters in the A.B.T group. I was like, please pray for me because this warfare, this spiritual warfare has begun. So keep me in your prayer. Keep us in our prayers. In your prayers. Sorry. My fiance's name is
Out.
Ruben. He attends he attends the classes in Clubhouse, so you'll see him as Ruben, brother Ruben. So
That's what's up. Reuben, first child of Jacob.
yeah, Ruben.
That's what's up.
Yes.
All right
So,
then, Miss Pearl.
Thank you.
Now we're
Thank
going
you.
to go on to Willie Z.
What's up, dude? How you doing?
What's up, Willie Z? I'm good. What's going on with
Not much. I just have a question.
you? Okay.
So I was talking to someone earlier about flat Earth, and I don't agree
Hmm.
with it. And I was just wondering what your take was on it.
You don't agree with flat Earth?
No, I
Okay.
just don't see any logical reason. And in Proverbs 8:27, it says he created the compass in the what's it called, face and depth. So I think of that as like the face, like down, and then depth as in like if
You
like
said Proverbs what?
8:27,
Okay, let's get some.
when he
Take a look at
prepared
that.
the heavens, I was there when he set a compass upon the face of the depth.
Proverbs 8:27. He says,
Yes.
"When he prepared the
Ooh,
heavens, I was there." Who's the I?
To be honest, I don't know. Not
Okay.
quite sure.
It's talking about will. It's talking about wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I was
And it
just
says,
wondering
"I
because
was
like
there when you said
Bro,
a
this
compass." What do you think the depth is referring to?
I think it's referring to like from one side to another. Like if like the face, like if you think of your physical face, it's like down. Your face is like the front, and then the depth is from the front to the back. If that makes sense. That's how I perceive it. But I was just
That's
wondering
fine. But this
what
is
your
talking
take
about
was on
the
it.
what time period is this talking about?
Like still in BC, so for like.
No, no, not that. I mean, of course, in BC. I mean, but when he says, "I was there," right?
Hmm.
What it is, verse? Yeah, 27. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When did God prepare the heavens?
The beginning of time. I mean, if but time is infinite, so I don't really know how to answer
The
that.
beginning of time or the beginning of creation,
The beginning of creation, yeah.
right?
The
And it
beginning of our
says,
time.
right? And it says, when he prepared the heavens, I was there when he said a compass upon the face of the earth. What does a compass mean?
I don't know that I'm trying to. Figure out how you perceive it.
Well, if you don't know, then it means you don't have a view.
Hmm.
You can't establish a perspective on something. If I ask you, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So what is your view even based on? You're disagreeing from something that you're saying that you're presenting that you yourself say you don't understand.
I mean,
You
I
see the problem
guess
there?
my view is just based off of popularity, I guess, and it just doesn't make much sense to me because the person that I was
Do
arguing
you
with.
need me to tell you that just because something is popular doesn't mean it's true? Do you really need me to tell you that, or you probably already knew that?
No, I know that, but I'm just trying to think of like because the person that I was arguing with said, like, what if like every government is being paid, and I just don't see the logical reason of why they'd hide the Earth being flat. Like I'm just trying to find your take on it.
Well, it's a lot of stuff. I don't see the logical reason why the government and other nations do what they do, but they do it. But just getting to this right here in Proverbs 8:27, it says, talking about wisdom, it says, when he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. So it's saying when God created the heavens, he put a compass upon the face of the depth. That word compass there means circle.
Hmm.
yep.
Hmm.
That's what that means. If you look it up in any other translation, it says in the let's go to the GNB. It says, I was there when he set the sky in place, when he stretched the horizon across the ocean. This is how I reason in God's word Bible. When he set up the heavens, I was there when he traced the horizon of the surface of the ocean. This is how I reason in ERV. I was there when he set up the skies, when he drew a circle in the ocean to make a place for the land. What is this circle?
The Earth.
Right? So, but it said he set a circle there.
Hmm.
So he set a circle upon the earth. The earth was already there. He said he set a circle upon that. What do you think
So
that's talking
like
about?
the atmosphere.
No.
Yes,
I'm following.
you could say that, but there's another word for it.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure
It's
though.
solid. It's solid.
If you go back,
So
if this is a reference to the creation, what should you do, Willie Z? If you want to understand this,
I'm not
if this
sure
is
to
a
be
reference,
honest.
think about it. I'm trying to get you to, I'm not picking on you or anything. I'm just trying to help you out. Where does it speak about the creation of the world in the Bible? The first place it speaks of it at.
Genesis.
So if this is a reference back to Genesis, where should you go to try to understand what this is talking about?
Genesis.
If you go to Genesis chapter 1, the only thing it mentions that lines up with this is a firmament.
Mhm.
And the firmament is circular because it's dome shaped. You understand? Like you've seen
Yeah.
a dome before. You've seen like the Astro Dome and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
right? But that's what this is saying. So what I'm telling you in essence is the very verse that you're going to say this is why you don't believe in a flat earth actually supports it.
Hmm.
I'm not saying it's definitive proof that there is a flat earth. You got to go to other places, but I'm saying this is a supporting verse for it. Because it said he
Yep.
set a circle. Think about it like this. If there's already water, remember it said the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the deep, talking about the water, deep, depth, same thing. That's why other translations put ocean right there, right?
Mhm.
If it says he set a circle, what would it look like to you if he set a circle on a face of water? That's either a disc or a dome, right?
Yeah.
So in creation, what do you think he set upon the face of the water? Do you think he put a piece like a flat disc on there, or did he put a hovering
A dome.
over it? There you go.
Hmm.
And just real
That's why.
quick,
Go ahead, Kevin. Does you?
I was gonna say real quick too, in case you're not aware, um, Isaiah understood what a sphere or ball was in the Bible. Like there's a different word. Like so, he uses the term ball in another context, and he uses the term circle in another context. So one might say, hey, well, like when Isaiah was talking about circle, he was talking about a sphere. Well, if that's the case, he would have used the word. He would have used this word. Let me find it for you. Yeah, Isaiah chapter 22, verse 18 says this. He will surely, this is Isaiah, he will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large company, into a large country. When you look up that word ball, that's H1754, and it means that, a ball, right? Whereas like if you look up Isaiah chapter 40, where Isaiah talks about the circle of the earth, that's not the word ball that he's using. It's the word circle, which as Josh just explained, is really talking about the vault of the heaven or the firmament.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, what was that we just went to? Proverbs what?
8 and 27. Same
8 and
Now
word.
this is
27. Yep.
Proverbs 8 and 27. Let's see.
My
In
Hebrew
Proverbs
lex.
8 and 27, that word compass there is the same word translated circle in Isaiah 40.
Yep, same word. And when you
Yep.
look at the lexicon,
The
it'll tell
lexicon take
you
me right there.
exactly. It'll tell you used of the arch or vault of the sky. So like, and even when you look at these verses, right? Like, even Job 22, verse 14, thick clouds are a covering to him that he seeth not, and he walketh in the circuit of heaven. And then Proverbs 8:27, when he prepared the heaven.
You breaking up, Kev, but does anybody else hear him?
Ew.
Nah, he's breaking up.
Oh, sorry. Am I still breaking up? If so, I'll leave and come
You're
back.
back.
Oh,
You're
you're
back.
good.
You
You're
good
good.
now. You good. You good now. You ain't on
Okay, got it.
a trashing tosh, are you?
Nah, I've been on the Mac all day. I've been on the Mac all day. So,
Okay, yours
um,
update. You got all the drivers downloaded or something. But
right.
go ahead.
Yeah. So now the only point I was going to make is all of these verses where H2329 appear really are talking about the firmament in a sense, right? And God sits on the firmament, in a ball sphere cosmology. It doesn't make sense. Like you would have to make everything metaphorical, because how does God sit on the ball earth? Because we've left the earth atmosphere. Where do we see God sitting on it? So where is he sitting? You see what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I wanted to bring out.
Right. He's above that firmament. That's what he's above.
Footstool. It's footstool.
Yep, exactly.
Hmm. But that's all that is, Willie.Z. And that's why when somebody brings a verse to me, I always ask, like, as we're going through the verse, like, what is this talking about? What is that talking about? Because I want to make sure that you understand the verse. So I'm gonna always test people, like, who's this talking about with me in the beginning and stuff like that. I do that. That prevents people from just taking verses out of context and saying, "Hey, what is this talking about?" I want to make sure that you know. You understand,
Yeah.
Willie Z? I'm not trying to embarrass anybody when I ask people questions about this stuff. I just want to see what you understand about the verse first and foremost, because I can't respond to something if I don't even know where you're coming from. You
Gotcha.
follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to do. Like, what is he like? I don't get it. So, and then once we walk through that together, now you got more understanding. Now you know this is talking about wisdom and how it was with God in the beginning and things of that nature and what that's talking about. He said a circle on the earth. And then that's another thing in Isaiah. It said he sitteth above the circle of the earth, meaning that this is a circle that is associated with the earth, but not the earth itself. Just like the firmament in the creation is separated from the earth. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, right?
Mhm.
And and he called the firmament heaven. So this firmament, it looks like a snow globe. That's the best model that people have. Which, if you want to get technical, when people say flat Earth, is more of a, do we believe in a complete ball or like half of a ball? Like, if you cut a ball in half, what is it going to look like?
A dome or like a
Yeah, it's
half.
gonna look like
Yeah,
two.
like
It's gonna like two domes. If you take
yeah,
a basketball, or let's use something that won't deflate when you do it, but you know what I'm saying. You cut it
yeah.
in half and you set both sides down. It's gonna like a dome right here, a dome right there. So it's still, the Earth is still round. See, when people say flat Earth, they think as opposed to round, and that's why people laugh. They're like, "Y'all believe in a flat Earth?" No, we believe the Earth is still round. We still believe that a dome is spherical. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the inner mechanics and workings that people disagree with when they say the flat earthers. It's not really so much as the shape. When they say flat, they means like there's a surface with a dome over it. The people that believe in a round earth, they don't believe there's any kind of surface. It's just, you just walk around it like this, go upside down, come back on the other side, walking around it like that. They believe that. Um, only thing I can say about that is that they believe that if the earth is round, then theoretically, if you look up at the sky, that's the sky, and I can dig down. I know they say you can't do it, but theoretically, if you did, if I dig down and come out on the other side, I see sky on the other side. So if I go up, I see sky, and if I go down and come out on the other side, I see sky. How does that work? I'm just saying. That means if I go up, there's the sky, and if I go down and I go penetrate through the ground and come out on the other side, resurface on the other side, they're not going to tell me I'm going to see a void or anything like that. If I come out on the other side, they're going to say I'm going to see sky. Does that make sense to anybody? I'm just
I
trying to figure
mean,
it out.
I don't think it technically makes sense, but I mean, in science we learned about like gravitational pull and stuff, and like if you have like a black like sheet of cloth, and then you spin something like put like a bowling ball in the middle, and then spin like a golf ball around, then it eventually pulls you in. So I think maybe just since we're like the Earth has a gravitational pull and there's gravity and stuff,
Allegedly.
like allegedly, yeah,
The
obviously
Earth has
only
a
God knows.
gravitational pull. What is the Earth pulling in?
That's a great question. I don't know. I haven't got that far in science yet, I guess.
As it pull,
Why isn't gravity
go
down
ahead,
to
Antoine. Go ahead.
like why isn't gravity strong enough to pull a light balloon down to the ground, but it could pull something heavy down to kind of force is that? That can't pull something light as a feather. I could hold a feather up. It'll take forever to, but I could drop something else. That's not a force pulling down. That's just because it weighs more. It's the weight of the air that's going to bring it back down. That's all it is. The gravity, and people to forget this, to learn it, is the theory of gravity. Scientists can't even explain what gravity is. Theory. It's always been that way. We were taught this in school. We were taught gravity, but we always leave out the theory part of it. We always leave it out.
Yeah.
Willie,
Who came
bring
up
up
with the theory of
meteors.
gravity?
I'm
What do you say,
sorry.
Billster?
Bring up meteors.
Meteors?
What about
Yeah.
meteors?
I don't know. I just think it'll add another layer to this conversation.
The Bible
Sorry I
talks about
interrupted.
meteors. The Bible talks about meteors. Did you know that,
I'm
Billster?
I'm sure it's in there. I just can't remember which part.
In the book of Acts, they were worshiping a meteor that fell down from heaven. They called it Jupiter.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's a meteor. Things have been falling from the sky for the longest, and pagans have been associating it with a god or something. Even over there in Islam, they got a cobblestone. They believe it came from heaven. Ask any
And
Muslim, they'll tell you this.
shooting stars. We call them shooting stars, but they worship too.
See, not cobblestone, Kaaba stone. He said cobblestone, Kaaba stone. Kaaba. Kaaba is the name of the shrine and the stone in it. So they call it the Kaaba stone. You follow what I'm saying? Like I said, like when it comes to stuff like this, right? The verses that people try to use to try to give you a globe earth are not describing that. It's describing a dome or a globe, a snow globe, as they call it, right?
Mhm.
That's what it's describing, right? And I told people all the time, until NASA does a live feed of somebody leaving Earth and zoom all the way out, and they can do this because they got the power to view Mars, right?
Mhm.
That's what they're saying. Until they do that, I'm not believing all, because some stuff they obviously tell the truth about. I'm not believing everything they say. I don't even believe we went to the moon, Willie.
I don't either. I don't either.
Right. So wait a minute. So you can believe they lied about going to the moon, but you can't believe they lied about the shape of the Earth?
Dude, I mean, you got me there. I feel like there's just more proof with
Oh, you're feeling.
the moon.
They go
Because
the
like
feeling.
You're
You
feeling like
feel, or you did the research. Let me
I
ask you a question,
mean,
Willie. If we did not go to the moon, wouldn't the other nations have to be in on it?
well, I think it was more because of the space race. I don't think it's
I
that
got you there.
they
No, I got you. Listen to the question again. If we didn't go to the moon,
Mhm.
wouldn't the other nations have to be in on this deception? Wouldn't they have to
Well,
be in on the lie?
I mean, from a certain perspective, but what if they're also trying to get in on the lie and we don't know it because
That's what
they
I just
also want to
Willie. That's what
be
I literally just Willie. That's what I literally just said.
I
I said if we
I
did
thought you meant like the nations know, not like I was thinking
no, I'm
like
saying listen what I'm saying. Let me rephrase the question. You don't believe we went to the moon, neither do I, right?
mhm, mhm.
How could we cover up something that big without the other nations finding out? They got space travel capability too. How could we possibly? Somebody would have been by now called our bluff, unless they're in on it too. Perfect example. If you say you climbed Mount Everest, I say, what proof you got you climbed Mount Everest? Yeah, I stuck my flag up there, Josh. My flag says Willie Z at the very top. And I planted it strong to make sure the wind or nothing don't blow it away. It's up there, it's a red flag. What would I have to do to prove you're not lying, Willie Z?
Climb up there and look for yourself.
Why haven't the other nations gone to the moon yet to verify that we went?
It's a great question. Maybe it's not possible.
And then you just mentioned something very important too. You said it was about the space race. So we were competing, right?
Hmm.
So if me and you are competing for something and you just claim you won without proving it to me, I'm supposed to be like, okay, he won. This is a race now,
Hmm.
right? How would you? If me and you made a bet on a game, like maybe you bet, like we bet on the Lakers game, right? And you didn't even see the Lakers game, and I just be like, yo, the Lakers won, man. What's your money, right? We bet $100 on the game. You're not
Uh-huh.
even gonna check the highlights to see if they actually won. You just gonna fork over the money.
No, no, I
And
definitely
you and
check.
I are very competitive, meaning you ain't gonna be like, well, Josh, you my friend, I trust you. No, we competitive, right? You need to see that. You need to check the highlights. Why didn't the other nations ever verify that we went to the moon by going there themselves?
Because it's not possible.
Because they couldn't do it. But if that's the case, Willie Z, that would mean they have to be in on it,
Hmm.
right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Because if you told me you climbed Mount Everest and I attempt to do it too, I say, Willie, I tried to climb Mount Everest. Tell me how you did it. Because every other attempt I tried, I couldn't get past this. I couldn't get around that. How the heck did you get to the top, Willie Z? What do you got to lose by telling me if we already know you got there first? What do you got to lose? You could even brag. You could even do it, Josh. Let me show you how the big boys did it. See, first I did this. So now you got bragging rights because you already went there first anyway. And you got double bragging rights because I tried to do it and I couldn't, and you had to show me.
Hmm.
So how come none of the other nations have ever gone to the moon and can't nobody say because we made it there first? You just said it was a race. Our competition just like, well, they went there first, so whatever. Nobody tried to verify it. But then again, they would have to be in on it.
Hmm.
So you can believe they could be in on that's a huge deception too. In fact, which one you think is a bigger deception? The shape of the planet that nobody can see unless they own a freaking rocket ship? Or us claiming we went to the moon, which they allegedly video recorded? Which one's the biggest deception?
I think definitely the Earth because I mean we all live on the Earth, you know.
But we can't see
Makes
the Earth.
sense.
You can't
Yeah,
see
that's
the Earth
true.
from a long distance. That's something that we'll never know unless we get into a rocket ship for sure. We'll never know.
Hmm.
But they actually gave us footage of the moon. The bigger the deception, the more they got to go out to deceive us. They put more work into the moon landing than telling us that the Earth is round. In fact, they came right out and said the images are Photoshop. They don't seem like a lot of effort.
Hmm.
They did a whole video of us going to the moon. Now, if we went, why didn't the competition go?
It's not possible.
When has mankind ever done that? When have mankind ever achieved a great journey and nobody else ever wanted to do it after the first person did it, just so they can say, I did it too? When has
Can't even
mankind
think of a
ever
time.
done that? That's the biggest achievement in the history of mankind, leaving this planet and landing on one of the celestial bodies, and nobody else wants to give it a shot. I ain't buying it. And don't forget when Nixon called, and they ain't gonna let that go when President Nixon called the moon from a landline. You
Yeah,
saw that
no,
before, didn't
that's
you, Willie Z?
that's ridiculous.
Willie, you believe in the Bible,
Yeah, of course I believe in the Bible.
right? So, but here's the thing: we were talking about this in chat. We just couldn't fathom. It was
Hmm.
just that people like they'll say like, "Wait, hold on, flat Earth, way too far."
I'm
But
sorry, your mic cut out a little bit. Can you repeat that?
yeah, I'm saying like people will have the mindset that the flat Earth, wait, that's way too far from. But there, not only are there some stuff, and Josh did a class on time. It's the obscene side of the Bible. I never get that. It's some wild
Mm-hmm.
stuff in the Bible in general, but there are also some things in the Bible that it's like you accept, you believe died, you believe a man walked on water, you believe a man died, resurrected, you believe a man flew up to heaven, you believe a man split a river, a whole sea, you believe that, you believe two men got caught up in the whirlwind up in heaven, you'll believe there's a talking animals, which that's really not perfect. But there's a lot of Bible that is kind of like we all take it like, okay, I believe it. We believe that the sun went back and that it stood still in the sky for hours. and didn't move, extended days. We believe all of that stuff that we can see in the Bible. And it's like, to me, those are way bigger things to swallow than like stuff
Yeah.
like, yeah, some of the other things that people have issues with when oh, the Bible says this right. Or like the Bible says this wrong, or this is that. And I'm like, dude, as a Christian, like we already accepting so much that this book says on faith. And we can all see how it can be true. But like it's like when we start to put limits on what God can do or what God says is true, that's when I'm like, well,